closer to the excuse me, to the 8 of the 7 to 8 start times. Now, I think this is because I've got the new video card, but I'm getting some... Oh, come on. No! Oh, God. This is on the wrong monitor for me, and I don't like it. What's going on here? Yeah, that's display 1. I want you on display 1. Okay, what happens if I tell you to do display 2? Bad things happen. Yeah, no, I want you on display 1. Alright, this is a dilemma. I'm not able to click OK. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna Alt F4 at that, and we'll try again and hope for the best. I bet... Sorry, what a clowny way to start. Good news is the video card's here and working. I've had this problem before. Alright, game settings. Okay, everything looks good, but what about my monitor? Alright, so it looks like the launch options don't let me specify a monitor. We should be able to get this done though. Sorry about the clowny start. I had a little trouble deciding what to play. So in the sense, obviously Mondays are... Oh, hey, it's on my screen, on the right screen. And hopefully it will... There we go. So yeah, I really like Age of Wonders Planetfall. Monday, of course, is the Paradox dedicated day. I'm a little looser in terms of the... in terms of what I consider sort of acceptable for these days. So it used to be that it would be sort of a Paradox grand strategy game. So this would effectively... Hey, Shalakor, how you doing? I'm a little late starting tonight. Well, not a little. My window is a start time between 7 to 8. But I had some trouble getting dinner done. So I'll shift the time. I still try to get at least 3 hours in on a given game. The reality of Age of Wonders Planetfall tends to be that I go a bit further. And because I'm going to be talking about how much I like the game, it's probably worth mentioning I was given a copy of Age of Wonders Planetfall as well as the Revelations DLC from the developer. So, and it's for promotional purchases. While money hasn't changed hands, obviously a game has quite a bit of value. Well, a game has value. Quite a bit of value is if you enjoy a game, and I do enjoy this game. But it is worth keeping in mind that the circumstances under which I got this game are not necessarily the ones that you'll be facing, and it is important to disclose this sort of stuff, even if you think that it doesn't affect either your purchase decision or my own. That is for you to decide, not for me. So, and of course, it is a requirement of the FTC. And while I am not an American, should probably be sort of adhering to the general laws and guidelines of the countries which I think most of you are going to be watching them in. So, plus it's just a nice thing to do. But with that in mind, I really like Age of Wonders Planetfall, and so it's not been a strict rule. It used to be that it would basically be Crusader Kings 2. I have occasionally done Hearts of Iron 4. I did Europa Universalis 4 once, and I actually really like Europa Universalis. I just found it was kind of unpleasant to stream it because of the people that it attracted. But I might try it again. Obviously, we've done Imperator and Stellaris, but yeah, it's usually been Crusader Kings 2, Stellaris are kind of the really big. Oh my goodness.
I've missed a lot of your streams. It's good to watch you again.
That's really wonderful to hear you. I should mention too, Shalakor, the last week I actually had my video card had been dying, and so I wasn't really able to do streams as regularly. So we're back on track. This is going to be, I guess, my second or third one back with the better video card. But that's awesome of you, especially around with Christmas time, because people are going to be spending on on friends and family. So. That means a lot to me that you put the donation down. Thank you very much for that. I won't spend too much longer on sort of the opening dialogue, but But yeah, one thing I did want to sort of highlight was Paradox is a growing company. It's actually really exciting to be a fan of their kinds of games, because in terms of acquisitions, the games that I have been playing lately, in terms of Paradox's lineup, it's not just Stellaris and Crusader Kings, which are great games in their own right, and I mean Imperator's got a big new patch, which I'd like to cover as well. But Triumph Studios, Age of Wonders Planetfall is the first game that they've developed since Paradox acquired them. Harebrained Schemes was acquired while they were developing Battletech. I think it was like right at the end. But obviously Harebrained Schemes had been supporting itself through crowdfunding for a while. So these are interesting games to cover, because while they're not necessarily made by the Paradox development studio, they're definitely reflecting kind of something of the publisher's approach towards making games, and you can see it. You can see it in Planetfall, you can see it in Surviving Mars, you can see it in BattleTech. And while I know the DLC model isn't necessarily for everyone, it's definitely been interesting to see how these games work with sort of this long tail of support. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with Surviving Mars now that Surviving the Aftermath is in early access. I don't know if they're going to stop at Green Planet or if there will be further DLC for the title, but yeah, I'm really looking forward. We've got the first of what I believe are 3 DLC coming out for Planetfall. But we're going to be continuing on with the campaign that we're playing. So as you can see, I've been spending a little bit of time myself. Okay, a lot of time myself. Oh wow, December 2nd. Okay, we were gone for a while. But we finished Arcadia Celeste, so we are going to do Zakirko, which I believe is the last of the Kirko missions. And that means we finally get to move on to the Devar. Well, actually, I get to pick. I could play the Devar, I could play the Amazon, or I could play the Syndicate. But I kind of like the idea of doing the campaign all in one go. How did the Stellaris Dwarf playthrough go? Shalakor, unfortunately, I kind of mismanaged the run, and I wound up in a bit of a hopeless situation, which was made even more hopeless due to sort of a mistake. And so unfortunately that run kind of died a swift and not very noble death. But I'm onto a new one. It's actually a rock, one of the new lithoid species. It's been a little while since I've played Stellaris, just because we've had Age of Wonders Planetfall and Battletech, and then the technical problems. But we will be going back to Stellaris, and I will bring back the space doors. The big thing is I always keep the species that I make. I just also like the opportunities to make new ones each playthrough. But there's a reason why I keep the space door. I keep all of my species around, because I do actually want I want to have sort of my own little universe. So, anyways. Zakirko. Returning home, the Kirko find their legacy tainted and rigged by unwelcome guests. Speaking of Space Dwarves, by the way, they are in this game as well. So, hey, Joshy man.
All cast of the Kirko rejoice as the day we land on Zakirko. From the humble hidden to the majestic harbinger, every individual of the swarm is sharpening their senses to re-embrace our ancient home world. Many colonies have answered my call, and our fleet have been constantly growing with new arrivals since we departed Arcadia Celeste.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Shalakor. Please take care of yourself. I'm still around Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so if you're if you ever want to watch something, I'll be around then. Don't have any special plans for the holidays, so I'm going to do my best to stream during the holidays as well. And but above all, take care of yourself first. I'll always be around here. Hey, Eric Roche, thank you very much for the host. And Joshy man, I am doing not too bad. I have a little bit of a dilemma getting started, just because I couldn't get my hands on dinner. But we're here. I'm getting ready to start a new scenario in the main campaign for Age of Wonders Planetfall, and I just got hosted by a cool guy.
This return will mark the beginning of a new era for the Kirko. As we reunite and reclaim our heritage, we cast off the last shackles from the Zogshia and take the fate of our race into our own claws. In ancient times, the Kirko swarm channeled its thoughts through the SKU, the Queen of Queens. There are rumors of another swarm herald trying to bring back the Queen and our lost hive along with her. Zakirko lies ahead, a celestial body encircled by mists of cosmite and stardust. What wonders and ancient mysteries will be awaiting us on the surface? Let us descend and have every step we take be a journey into the secrets of our past. Zakirko, your hatchlings are returning home.
Eric Ricochet, thank you very much for saying that. Joshy Man, this would probably be best described as a 4X game. It definitely has a stronger military emphasis. So while on the surface it looks to be a lot closer to Civilization, and it's not an unfair comparison at all, because you are building bases, you are upgrading them, you are expanding, you're exploring, you're exterminating. But I would actually say that this game probably has more in common with an inverted XCOM. XCOM is driven by its tactical game, the turn-based, move the troops, try and shoot, realize that random numbers hate you, and then the strategic level is going to be giving you some modifications to the tactical game. But really, when you think of XCOM, you think of that those individual squads. In the case of Age of Wonders Planetfall, I would argue that its focus is much more on the strategic layer, but it has a very well-developed tactical level to the game. And so where Civilization is going to basically reduce combat down to the units on the strategic hex map, Age of Wonders Planetfall is actually going to take you down to that tactical level. You can have a lot more units on the ground. There's a lot more variety in terms of the units and how they interact with each other. And then the city management and technology is maybe abstracted a little bit more than you would see in something like a Civilization game. So on the surface, it actually you would actually not be faulted for thinking that it's like Civilization. But the thing is, science fiction Civilization already exists. It's called Beyond Earth, or if you want to play a classic game, Alpha Centauri. But the best way for me to explain what this game is like is probably just to show you. So. You expected me to say it's an RTS? Yeah, no, it's a turn-based game. So I'll actually take a minute here and describe what all of this is, because I suspect a few of you might be thinking about or might wondering what this game is. I should note I have upped the difficulty, so I might struggle a little bit at the start. But this is a small world on continents, half water, half land. So I might want to invest a little bit more in my in sort of my navy than I normally do. Although the Kirko do have a few good flying units off the bat, I think. Objectives: explore the planet and find answers, and then discover more about the rumors. So one thing that makes this game pretty unique is that its campaign is actually pretty well fleshed out, and there are things that happen on the map that sort of motivate your movement around. It's almost a little bit like Endless Legend in that sense, although really it's much more like the other Age of Wonders games 1 through 3, which were fantasy games. Another big feature of this game is that you have commanders, who are sort of these larger-than-life hero figures that usually wind up commanding armies, although they could just run around on their own if you really want them to. They're not necessarily most effective that way. But in this case, I'm playing Paz Teknor. It's the race of Kirko, so through rapid evolution, the Kirkos seek to restore what was broken and will find retribution for the terrible fate that has befallen them. This will determine weapons groups, so they're bio and psi weapons, rapid population growth and large armies, swarm shields protect units in combat, biological units with good melee capability, and racial abilities, swarm shields, and faster regeneration. The class, or in this case the technology that this character has, is Cynumbra. The Cynumbra employ dark psionic powers to tear holes in reality and summon devious entities from the abyss. We can summon ethereal beings, break enemies' minds, shatter reality to terrorize the populace, use psionic damage channels. So basically, we're playing the Bug Goth. No, Upman, I'm playing the main campaign. Cynumbra Assault Equipment. So this is one of the default weapon packs, the pack that you received after the Cynumbra Assault training. This expert training gives the following skills. Range specialist, increase range damage dealt using ranged weapons. Steady aim increases your accuracy when behind cover. And this pack includes a soul splitter, a gun that targets the mind of its foes, dealing psionic damage, and Stone of Dissonance that deals psionic damage in the area. The other perk is Veteran, so you enlisted as soon as possible and quickly gain rank and honor. This is clearly not your first deployment. So in this case, my hero will start with extra levels, giving me more points to distribute amongst the special abilities. And then combat experience. All units gain experience 15% faster. Eric Ricochet says, Devars got railroaded by the Amazons the other day. 4,000 army points on each side. Where was it? Data repository. A leading scientist from your race gave you a repository of Empire information. You're not sure what it contains, but it will help you jumpstart your research. You start with 2 free random texts, and there is no drawback. So one of the things that's neat about this game is you can customize these heroes. I believe you can customize the heroes in the single-player campaign as well, but I tend to like going for the game's default. And then, of course, we'll see whether or not I can actually survive the game with the difficulty up 1. All right. Our ancient homeworld. It's unreal to finally be here, to taste the dulcet air and hear her humming melody. No dream experience could be as rousing as the fervor evoked by this moment. What answers will we find on Zakirko? There's so much we do not know about our past. Let us swarm out at once, explore our surroundings, visit the other Kirko colonies from the fleet. We will see if there is more to the rumors about the Ezkiu and her planned resurrection. Alright, so this is our first mission. Visit the Kirko camps nearby and hear the opinion of their swarm heralds on the rumors about the Queen of Queens. So it looks like there's 3 other members of the Kirko on the planet. Let's just go through the messages right off the bat. So, Aquatic.
The sea is a maiden of many moods, most of them murderous. Captain Peter Visser, Salty Bay Colony.
So we get water bases, we get sea transport. So in this case, you don't need to build boats to put people on. They basically get the ability to go on boats as soon as you get aquatic development. And then river crossing expertise. This unit has been trained in crossing rivers and so does so at a greatly reduced move point cost. I always keep forgetting about this bonus, but this is actually a fairly decent one. And then food development.
Food is a governing tool. Just as fuel is essential to power a machine, food is the ruling principle of happy, strong, and productive colonists. Tony Rubio Strong, Manpower and Machine Motivational Consulting.
So one of the big challenges that I run into in this game is that I am very much in sort of a civilization mindset where I want to focus a lot on like building infrastructure, getting my populations up and whatnot. But this game definitely seems to have a much heavier emphasis on getting armies built. Now, again, that still doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing in your infrastructure, because obviously, if you have a large population, if you have a large industrial base, then you're going to be able to build more units, and you'll be able to, overtake everybody with your superior numbers. But as is the case with a lot of good strategy games, there is a cost to doing that. If you spend all of your time developing your infrastructure, then somebody with an even, modestly sized army will just kind of run in, steamroll over you, take your goodies, and then use those goodies to beat their enemies. And again, the game has sort of allowed me to abuse that, because on easy mode, it's not really going to cause you that big of a hassle. But of course, now we're playing on the next step up. I think it's called Advanced. So I'm going to have to be a little more thoughtful. But with that in mind, now that I've got the early points in food, I am probably going to expand out to the Sunshine Synthetics Biodomes, although probably I'm going to have to fight for it. If anything, it does give me the extra 3 food. This actually can give me some energy. And then, of course, there's the temptation of the research station. But I think I'd be willing to give up a couple of turns of research, especially because there's slightly better research tiles. Actually, that's probably not true because of the plus 10 knowledge. But anyways, lots of good options. So let's see. Here's my commander. So pause to ignore. This is the guy who was talking earlier. So in this case, I get to kind of pick whatever I want. Now, my unit here, I've got the Hidden, who's a skirmisher. I've got Frenzied, who are sort of my core melee units. And then I've got one flying unit. I seem to remember that these are actually particularly good as sort of anti-air units. But in this case here, I do have a majority of infantry, so I'm kind of tempted to go straight for infantry commander. What else do we have? So basic ones here: piloting, Deadeye, close quarter specialist, range specialist, vitality, air commander, all-round awareness, counterattack are sort of standard abilities that your hero can get, and you'll get a bit of an idea in terms of what these things do. You can always mouse over. There's also the equivalent of the Civilopedia. In this case, this is the Imperial Archives. Ground Commander and Infantry Commander are the other abilities that are sort of default. Oh, sorry, I think Watchman as well. Are sort of default hero skills. Then you've got things that are related to either your race or your special technology. So Devour Hope is a Sinumbra hero skill. Attempt to feed off the hope of a target enemy unit, causing it to enter a state of despair. If successful, this caster heals for 20 health. Filled with Despair, 8 strength chance to apply Filled with Despair to non-mindless units for 3 turns. If resisted, apply Broken Mind instead. Then there's Echo of the Hive Mind. The hero provides an additional +1 shield to adjacent units with the Swarm Shield. Now, this character does have range, so it's maybe not necessarily obvious that they're going to be in the front line with the Frenzied, but we'll see. Frenzied Assault. This unit's melee attacks give it Frenzy, adding +10% melee damage. Again, this is a ranged character, so that's not quite as exciting. Adjacent units with Swarm Shield gain 20% damage to all abilities. Invigorating Pheromones. All biological units in this hero's army gain +5 maximum health. Only functions when this hero is the army's commander. I actually think we'll do that right now because that synergizes reasonably well with Infantry Commander, I feel. Well, I mean, not exactly the synergy, but like obviously I'm going to be running with a lot of infantry units, so we'll make them a little bit tankier. We'll allow them to get their extra shield points. Selfless Sacrifice. This unit links itself to target-friendly unit. Any damage dealt to this linked unit is reduced by 35%. This is not a terrible one to have, but I just don't quite see this working as well with this army setup. Shrouded Stemp is a teleport one, but let's focus maybe more on the goth skills. So we've got Sadism. Unit deals an additional 25% damage against units with low morale, and Sinister Chorus. A Sinister Chorus permeates the air around the unit. All non-mindless enemies units adjacent to this unit receive Sinister Melody, reducing their damage resistance by 2 and their accuracy by 20%. So again, very tempting for a hero. Like, this would be tempting if this was a melee-based hero, but we do already have a bit invested in their ranged ability. So in this case, we'll do Extra Range Specialist. We'll go for the extra damage first. And then I'll get the extra aim. All right, so we've got 23 points to make just a generally good sort of ranged character. They'll be doing lots of damage sort of to single targets on their own, but they'll also be enhancing the other units that are in their army. Yeah, I don't really want to upgrade them any further, but thanks for the offer. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Let's give them... I think I'm going to give him the extra vitality before I go for the Watchman. All right, we also have Karash Dayak. So this is another, basically another hero unit, my companion. Right now they just have an Unleashed, sort of a companion flying unit. Now their armaments are slightly different. So they've got the Thrax pistol, which is a biological weapon. It's also worth mentioning, I think the Psi Rifle is, I believe this full action here means that you kind of stand and deliver. So this is more of a sniper unit rather than someone who'll kind of be running in and blowing people away. It's a little harder for me to decide what I want to spend the 10 points on, though. In this case, I might actually just do the extra ranged points and figure it out next. And part of this is just because I haven't actually figured out what kind of an army I want to give this guy yet. So let's go for range specialist. We'll do the extra damage and then work out the rest later. So for them, I know I'm not going to be doing any combat, but at the very least we can scout things out. I can also try picking up the the energy stash. This is my main unit, so in this case we can sort of afford to run them around and get them to do certain tasks. The one thing I do want to do is head to the objective pretty quickly, but these guys can give me a quest, and there's actually a bonus that you can get for completing quests early. Also, I probably should have started a fight. Oh, drat. That would have been better for me to just run up and punch these guys, but we'll figure it out later. Okay, set production. So I can start building extra units for this guy right away. It's very tempting to do so. But alternatively, I can, build up the infrastructure. In this case, I do want to get more people working on production. In this case, we'll start with a central biofarm. We might change this out later. And I don't have any Transcendent in the army yet, so I think we'll start with Specialist Training Center and then the Skirmisher, but I might change that out later. Finally, Planetfall Objective Report. So there's a few different paths to victory. You've probably already seen this in other games, but right now you get sort of intermediate steps that the game recommends. So for the campaign, right now the thing that we want to deal with is scouting out the surroundings and visiting the camps. These would be sort of the mission victory points, but you have Unity, Military, and Development. There's also sort of apocalyptic weapons that you can build and whatnot. Actually, that might count under military anyway. I'm not 100% sure how that works. But how you doing, Johnny Big Time? Let me just take a quick minute here and shout him out. I know we're slow getting the stream going, but Johnny is my favorite caster on Twitch. He's been playing Call of Duty a lot recently, but I believe his heart is now set on Jedi Fallen Order, which I'm personally really looking forward to seeing him do that. If you've not seen the tutorial for the game, it is something else. So I really want to catch him when he starts playing Jedi Fallen Order, because I want to see his reaction to it. I missed his reaction to the opening of Wolfenstein: The New Order. So yeah. All right, Victory Condition Explorer, Zakir Co. Visit Kirko camps nearby. Yeah, we already got that. And then relationship with the Kirko changed to friendly. I hope so. It is my own race. And I actually think we're done for now. So again, Muruks, I want to just try and get the population up. I'm going to try and expand out as quickly as I can to other territories, get a second base going. And the hope is that by skimping a little bit on my military at the start... Oh, can I pick? No, I can't pick. Skimming a little bit on my military at the start is going to give me a broader industrial base to sort of supplement my forces with. All right, so first things first, let's get the goodies. The remains of this transport contains a salvageable energy pod worth 38 energy. Unfortunately, its destroyed systems reveal no data about the convoy's origin, destination, or what led to its destruction. So we'll take the reward. Now, unfortunately, you have to basically take the full turn to invest to go into the water. So these guys are done. We're going to get them out of the water next turn, and then we'll get them to visit Bidak Sil. In the meantime, let's show you some combat. So this is a Marauder unit. This is kind of like a Barbarian in Civilization, except the red ones are the ones that will actually go attack your territory. These guys are just sitting in place to guard certain resources. Part of this is just getting my units experience. Part of this is so I can show the combat, and then we're going to try and get a mission from the plant people over here. By the way, what do channel points do? Is this something just for the viewers, or do I make millions of dollars from you guys highlighting your messages like that? One thing I've learned about this game, Joshy Man, is that there is a big benefit to actually reading up about these enemies. So, also there's fun lore in the game. So, Wild Harrier. Yes, hello? Is this animal control? I'm calling on behalf of my neighbor Zeb. There's a large bat dragon on his rooftop. Yeah, hostile. They ate his dog. It's breaking through his roof. Oh dear. I think that's his wife, Marlene, in its jaws. Yes? A harrier? I don't care what it's called. Can't you kill it? I don't care if it's endangered. It's eating my neighbor's wife. There goes Zeb. Sorry, Zeb. I can't get the door. I'm on the phone. Look at that thing fly. It's swooping. Oh dear. It's eating Zeb. Narda Melifu, RV0224E, Colony, Laugh-Along. If I'm not making money off of these highlighted messages, you're going to complain. Johnny Big Time says, the longer you watch, the more points you get. More points you get, the more you can do. Unlock an emote, talk in sub chat, highlight a message, and other things. Okay, cool. So this thing can strike, high impact stagger units, reducing action points, canceling defensive modules. Melee bypasses all shields, so this is important because my frontline units are going to get a shield bonus for stacking close to each other. And it does 33% higher damage if it's air to air. Swoop. Swoop down for a melee attack, entering defense mode afterwards. High impact stagger units, reducing action points and canceling defensive modes. Bypass all shields. 8 strength chance to apply bleeding to biological or cyborg units for 3 turns. Only affects ground targets, and the good news is that there is a cooldown on it. But basically, the thing is that I want to shoot this thing out of the air before I actually I give it a chance to do the swoop. Mega Beetle Baby. The numbskulls at Terratech thought to use the beetle creatures as beasts of burden for low-tech colonization. Fools! Their specimens were juveniles. These profit-driven middle managers moved to market so fast and with so little scientific oversight that they'd infested hundreds of worlds with insectoid juggernaut offspring before realizing their mistake. All because that's alien cells. You can't just file off a creature's mandibles and change its natures. The beetle pupae still explode if they die. And what happens when a beetle baby becomes a beetle adult? Professor R. Lynn Bugman Bunsen, RV181S, SETI Alpha Outpost Recordings. These things have a fairly nasty pincer attack, but they also throw up on you for strength chance to apply poison. They're also good at resisting biology. There are other things here, so like beetle death rattle is what it's talking about here, but I don't want to spend like the entire stream reading through these. So there's a running in joke in a stream you freaking often where people will highlight a message just to say minus 100. All right, and finally the Wild Shrike. Story goes, Star Union planets were overrun with an interstellar vermin known as space pigeons. A real menace. They consumed a whole field of crops. Their filthy droppings covered every surface. Terratech tried fixing the matter. They discovered a planet with no space pigeons. This planet has a natural predator of vermin, so Terratech enters the Shrike into their genetic arc as a natural remedy to the space pigeon without testing the results at scale. It's wildly successful. Too successful. Sure, the crops are safe. But you ever been hit by Shrike droppings? Kelly Angel, Satirist, RV3411E, Genetic Jokes. And again, strike, swoop, so I am probably more worried about the aerial units, but my Unleashed has its own benefits. The Ravage air-to-air strike is a pretty good one. They're also a little bit fragile, though, so I want to be careful. Anyways, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We're gonna shoot them all. All right, so if I can, I want to, like I said, shoot the Harrier. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up an Overwatch with my sniper. Now, if the AI is smart, they would move the Beetles in to deal with the Overwatch first. And then this gives me an idea in terms of where I want to put my melee units when the time comes to deal with these guys. Before that, though, I want to see if Pox... so Pox does have a chance to put some hurt on the airborne units. So I'll move them up to cover. So my options here are to Psi Stones of Dissonance, High Impact, bypass all shields. I think in this case I'll just fire the Soul Spear at the big guy. Hello, the Eyes of Sin. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a pterodactyl. It's not officially a dinosaur, but I could say it's dinosaur adjacent. This is the game with the laser, the dinosaurs with laser, Amazons with laser dinosaurs. That is correct. All right. So again, I kind of want to try and focus my forces on the right-hand side here. That is going to leave me open to this this swooper here, but that's where these guys come in. So I just want to make sure I don't block my guys from being able to move into the positions where I want them to. So if I can, I'd like to give people cover. But the biggest thing that I want, even though these units are going to bypass shields, it doesn't mean that I don't want to present like too tempting of a target for the beetles. So we'll stand united. The important thing is that the pterodactyls or shrikes, there's only one thing they can actually attack. So okay, gonna move these guys to the side. So the expectation is they're gonna run in and do aerial attacks on whoever comes in to take these out. So if they don't move in, we just keep taking pot shots at them. If they do move in, then there's the overwatch. These guys are as defended as they're going to be, which is not very. And we kind of collapse in on whatever comes after them. Effectively, we're just going to ignore the beetles, but let's see how this goes. All right, so this is obviously a very tasty target for my my airborne unit. Ooh, critical. Well, like I said, Joshy man, it's kind of like reverse XCOM. All right, that's fascinating. It's forcing me to go through this other guy. So before we do any of that, so I know that as long as I can get my air-to-air unit, we're good on taking out this guy. So I'm going to direct all my attention to punishing the junior guy. Now the good news is that my melee primary units are not completely hopeless against flying units. They can throw up. Actually reminds me of Johnny. His response to everything is I'm going to throw up. But you know what? First things first, let's just get the flank.
Enemy annihilated.
Alright, that was a lot easier. So, let's now move the aerial unit in.
Enemy down.
You just realized the southern state has a wonderful ambrosial drink called cheer wine. That's amazing. What is cheer wine? I have to know now. That's such a wonderful name. Why did you? Are you talking about XCOM, Joshy man? Why did you play your first game on Iron Man? And Johnny Big Time says you got your Ultra Saber in the. What is an Ultra Saber? Is this some kind of Star Trek thing? Okay. We're just gonna run in and beat the crap out of the beetle. Ooh, that's gonna bite. I didn't even know I was in the party. Alright, so unfortunately, they're going to be able to take their revenge, but it shouldn't be enough to kill any of my units.
Enemy killed.
Ooh.
Our forces are victorious.
What kind of color did you get, Johnny? Alright, so the big reason you want to do that is for the... you kind of want to do that for the... for the experience for the units. Now, they are going to need a couple of turns to heal up. The damage is persistent between levels. But what I want to do now is have a chat with these plant people, and Sin will never forgive me if I fight them, so... The smell, the sweet verdant odor, I recognize it from the fifth dream of Kazratosh. The ones that were once lost are returning. Greetings, Kirko. You are different from what we sensed you last. You remember our ancestors. What can you tell us of Zakirko, what we were like before the invasion of the Star Union? You are asking many questions, symbiote. In the past, no words were needed. A vision appears in your mind. You see the sprawling landscape of Zakirko with overgrown ponds and flowers towering like mighty trees. The air is swarming with ancestral Kirko, hurrying from one colorful blossom to another. So it is true that our two species were once living together in harmony. The allure of the nectar is still present in the dreams of each Kirko. Queen and Mother Node, Kirko, and growth. We all prospered together. Collect our nectar symbiote, spread our pollen, relive what once was, and you will find the answers you seek. So Johnny Pig Time says the hilt is black and silver, and the blade is default red, but you can change it to whatever you want, along with the sounds and such. I guess we are. There are actual bees that I get from these units, though, so... flowers and bees. Well, that answers that. Let your colonies work to collect the nectar of the growth. Oh, man. Is this timed? All colonies contribute with their production to this problem. 800 seems like a lot. All right, so I wanted to say we require this position, please vacate. But I don't have the influence yet, and we're definitely not fighting them. So the question to me now is, do I want to try and wait out Sunshine Synthetics biodomes? Because I'm fairly certain I'm going to need to... I'm fairly certain that I'm actually going to need to fight to get the Imperial biodome. Not the plants, but to move in. So the question would be, do I want to wait, or do I want to take advantage of the sector now? I definitely have some attractive options here. So two plant, 2 energy, 2 science is a nice one. The only thing that kind of bugs me is the fact that there's no production. So these are also very tempting for the same reason. I think in this case I'm actually going to go for the water tile. So we'll annex a naval base. And again, this is partly just for the... so the reason I didn't go for the one with the science building is just because I'm going to need to fight to get it, and I know that this unit's going to be heading up to Rocks, and they're going to be heading back here to get rid of the plant people. All right, military research. So you get 4 tracks. We've got Kirko, which is our racial sort of military track. We get biochemical, which is one of the weapons, again, from the species. It tells you there. And of course, biochemical is shared amongst others. Psionics, which is, again, race-related. And then there's Synumbra, which is our technology. Now, one of the things that I sort of learned was I wasn't using mods very well. So I'm most inclined to go for Unshackling, just because that's also going to be unlocking a few additional units for me. But I do want to be considering things like biochemical applications, volatile afflictions, or Dominion of Purification, depending on what kinds of units I go for. Right now, though, Unshackling gives me Sundering Claws, gives me Heightened Vision. These give sort of additional armor, additional health, additional attacks, so Unshackling kind of seems to make the most sense. And then social research, Frontier Facility seems the most tempting because of the extra happiness. I know I'm going to be trying for some extra... extra large colonies, and then of course it gives me the colony unit fairly early on. So one other thing I should have considered would be the food development, because I have that upgrade right away. Anyways, we'll carry on with Frontier Facilities, and we'll see whether or not I can take advantage of my food focus. So again, the Kirko already grow at a fairly rapid pace, but in this case we're going to be doubling down on that. Alright, the false symbiote. A terrible blight is spreading through our Earths. A false symbiote has emerged, set on making us a part of its corruption. Halt the plague before it consumes the planet. So, we need to kill 4 units, we get a bunch of goodies. And hopefully our guys will be healed by yeah, they're looking okay. Of course, this also gives me important... Alright, so it looks like there's a Kirko with them. The destroyers are nightmares, and pustules can also be a problem. So this may take a little effort, but I also have the advantage of I kind of have the advantage of being able to take them at range. So as long as I'm reasonably clever in the way that I approach it, I should be okay. This is a concern. These guys are probably going to move in to try and take out this base fairly quickly. So let's do hydro exploitation. We'll actually move that up on the queue because this gives me additional. This kind of gives me additional resources, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna need to deal with or build like a better army sooner than I thought. Start with I'll start with this. I may switch it out though. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to take a quick second here. I've noticed that my frame rate has gone down to 60. As much as I'd love to rock that resolution, I don't think that's quite necessary. Just going to tab out for a second. You wonder what alien honey tastes like? Maybe that'll come up in the the lore entries. Okay, interesting. I'm actually just going to turn off my frame rate settings because it's distracting and none of you care whether or not it's at 60 frames or not because I'm broadcasting at 30. All right. So let's get these guys into visit by Daxil. They're still probably going to arrive before the rest of my... Oh, damn it. I think I caused a problem. Okay, it's fixed.
Production ready.
I've got my central biofarm, so this gives me additional food. Again, this is just going to give me additional colonists, more people to work the tiles, and then we can expand a little bit faster. But I do need to make sure that I actually leverage the advantage that comes from that. I can't just sit idly on the on that benefit. And again, given the fact that we're so close to Marauders, I am going to want to deal with these guys fairly quickly. This is a... Okay, so it's all skirmishers, but there's still going to be problems. All right. First things first. Hawkskrit Pat, brother. Why do I see so many troubled faces? Is it not a moment of unclouded elation to be back on Zakir Co? Sword-held Posdik Nor. We had been filled with joy when we first took our first steps on our blessed homeworld, until the Syndicate came and captured many of the colony, including our swarm herald, Marin Gauhu. They must have followed our fleet, and they are now taking our brethren prisoners as they land one by one. Death to the Syndicate slavers that dare to defile our home planet. Give us their location, and they shall regret the day they set foot on the land of our ancestors. Destroy or capture the Syndicate's headquarters to free the Kirko they have been imprisoning there. All right, complete these objectives. Annex Lovizun and possibly raise Lovizun. And we get a Barrager and a Tormented for it. Sounds like a good deal. Okay. We are at almost completely full health, and again, I don't really want these things engaging this false symbiote in melee, so let's see if we can do something with this. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys, I did get to record a new episode of The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, so hopefully we'll have some fun with that. Now, the one thing I am worried about is having so many targets that I'm not actually able to take them all out at once. So it would be to my advantage to spread things out. This is my commander, so I kind of want to want them to take point. Hidden is another question. You know what? I'm going to do something really reckless here, so if they shoot this, it's a problem, but these guys are mostly melee focused, so we'll set up the Overwatch. And then... basically, we're just going to prepare. It's nice to be in a defensive mode. This will do a lot of damage to my guy. That's 2 units that are targeted, but again, I want to get the advantages of the swarm. And now put 3 people into harm's way. But again, if they try any ranged attacks, then we get the advantage of the shields. And if they try any melee attacks, we get sort of our overwatches. I mean, if they go after the commander, he's kind of screwed. But, oh, it looks like they can attack him. Oh, that's right. I didn't think about the jump. Oh wow, they really are going after the weak spot. Okay, let's see how I'm going to respond to this. So, first priority is if I can take a piece off the board, I'll go for it. Second priority is if I can do damage to a high priority target. So one thing I should be focusing on is freeing up my commander. I don't think that's going to be possible though. So second best we'll do a Ravage.
Enemy destroyed.
So the good news for me is that they're not going to be able to damage this this hazard anymore. He's going to be able to attack back. Alright, that was not ideal. My hero can definitely take those Overwatch attacks, but yeah, this was not a good round. Okay, so plan here. First thing I gotta do is get rid of... So I'm gonna use the flying unit to get rid of the frenzied. If I can. Oh, that was the pustule. Okay, so I'm gonna use the unleash to get rid of the frenzied here, because that's going to free my commander to shoot whatever he wants. Next thing I'm going to do is get these guys to deal with the pustule, and this is just because they're in the area, they're available. Now I believe we don't have anything else that we're worried about, so now we basically just try and deal as much damage as possible to the pustules. All right. So let's see if any of these guys got turned into mutants.
Our forces are victorious.
That was a long time ago, Joshy man. Alright. So we have got all new levels.
Objective completed.
The blight has been contained, the horrid abomination slain. Now is the time for healing. Be thanked, symbiote. Alright, let's press ahead and pick up whatever goodies we can get, although I might want to reconsider that. We've got Devar Foreman, Syndicate Indentured, and Devar Trencher. We should be able to handle them, but it wouldn't hurt to get an extra turn of healing in, I think.
Production ready.
Okay, so we've got, again, another sort of unit-oriented building. It does give me the option to build a Transcendent. Transcendent are kind of neat because they give you... they're like a support unit, so you'll get some healing and some damage mitigation from them. Not 100% sure I want to spend the money on them yet, though. In fact, there's an argument that I should just build another hidden and use this supplemental unit the way that I've kind of used all the other ones. I don't have to commit to anything yet, so I should probably start collecting the nectar at some point. Alright, again, this thing is getting to be a little bit of a worry, so I definitely want to invest in my military. As much as I'd like to go exploring, well, go a little bit. Thing is, I don't really think I'm actually going to be sending this 300 power army to go face down the 280 power, given the fact that one of these is an aerial unit. But yeah, I definitely need to get my units on track. In fact, I think I'm going to push up the production of the Frenzied. It'd be nice to have some other alternatives, but I think at this point I need to start, I need to make sure that my investments are protected. Alright, now, am I willing to risk some of my units for more treasures? Yes, I am. Alright, so we've got the Devar Foreman. As Foreman, I am boss. I require nothing of my subordinates that I cannot do myself. I model myself after the legendary Forge Master Dvarnos. He reached into the mountain's heart and pulled out the gauntlet of empires. By the power of my gauntlet, my men stand strong against the terror of the fields that lurk in the dark depths. When my men are broken, I repair them. With my mortar, I can place a charge to destroy at a distance. With the power of my fist, I break rocks and monsters alike. Foreman Gorglegrok, RV32344M, enemy mines. So we've got a hand mortar, high impact stagger. They've got a kinetic punch, so it looks like these guys are going to want to take my Kirko on hand to hand, so my shields don't mean a whole lot. Incentivize healing kit. So yeah, all in all, bad news. Devar Trencher. I hear the rhythmic clink-clank of mining machines and dash down the tunnel following the sound. I don't generally hang with Devars, but mostly because they really like mining and I find it difficult to enjoy dirt. With the bugs sniffing my trail, I chose new company. Fortunately, Devar had trenchers. At my warning, they dug defensive trenches. With their shields up, the bugs were repelled by the force of their shield bash. Their spike guns punched holes in the natural armor of the enemy, forcing the creatures to retreat or die. Mareg Nib, Observer Officiate, RV2246X, and VAR Chronicles. So, spike gun, shield bash, and entrench. So, yeah, this definitely seems to be a little bit more built against my, the kinds of units that I'm used to fielding. And then the indentured. The Naku family purchased my family's debt. It originated from my great-grandfather. When he failed to profit from the venture, the debts fell into collection for up to 5 generations. That's the terms. I pay it off through indentured servitude. I do what they want, fight or die. I belong to the owner. Many folks lost their livelihoods when the Bloody Star Union crashed. I don't blame anybody, really. I live. Many didn't survive. So that's that. I'll do whatever it takes to pay down the principal. Even wield a gun. Zircon Mark, RV3499F, Memoir of One Indentured. So if I can, taking out the Foreman is a high priority just to prevent the healing abilities, but not at the, not at the cost of taking better opportunities. So I have 2 thoughts about how I can handle the hidden. I can push them straight up and make them sort of a threat to everywhere, or I can sort of hold them back and hope that Devar come to me. I think I'm going to split the difference and I'll run them up to this spot. I'm not able to take a defensive position, but honestly, if the indentured start shooting at these guys, I've got... I think I'm in a fairly decent shape, to be honest. Okay, the really hard bit for me here is figuring out whether or not I can actually shoot at this vehicle. Alright, so that's just out of range. Alright, well, it's not ideal, but... Now, I'm going to do something a little unexpected here. Normally I'd love to like put my guys into a gap and let them... sort of let the enemy come to them. In this case, I'm actually going to hold my melee back. This is going to be weird that my ranged units are actually going to be leading ahead of the melee, but this is mostly because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with these guys yet. The most likely approach is going to be going through this gap and taking them out, but as you can see, this is actually a fairly difficult path for me to traverse. So I kind of want them to make a decision in terms of where they go, because of course this guy, their whole benefit is about the fact that they can put their shields down and take what's coming to them. So these guys stay put, then I just blow up these targets nearby and deal damage to them. If they move in, well that's fine, because then I just get the Kiriko to collapse and move in on these guys. So at this point we're sort of keeping them in reserve. Of course, the last interesting thing is that the AI might be tempted to take these units that are not in cover. They'll run into a position like here, fire on them, and that of course opens them up to the hidden and the main character. So let's see what they do. Oh, that's right. The game did tell me they had mortars. So that's going to be very inconvenient for my hidden. Okay, so obviously this is still a priority. Alright, so it looks like because they got staggered, they're stuck. It would have been beautiful if I could have shot that, but in this case we'll get ourselves into position. We'll set up the Overwatch. That's got everybody covered. My commander's obviously out on their own, but that's not the worst situation in the world for them. They're going to be able to take the damage, so... And we can throw up on the bad guys. I'm going to do it on this one just because that'll allow me... It'll do damage to the target that I want. It's also going to do damage to the hazard, so... Unfortunately, he resisted that, but... Now again, I want to be careful about this mortar, but given the fact that I can just keep throwing up on everything...
Enemy down.
So, not normally how I'd want to use it, but let's see if we can blow this thing up.
Enemy killed.
There we go. So, now we've got the entrenched, which don't look quite as scary.
Enemy eliminated. The enemies of the hive have been defeated.
The remains of the transport contain a salvageable energy pod worth 54 energy. Unfortunately, its destroyed systems reveal no data on the convoy's origin, destination, or what led to its destruction. Okay, so again, get more goodies. DIY methods. You discover that this transport was carrying blueprints and materials to make 2 different weapons. Unfortunately, you find that most materials have deteriorated over time, and there's only enough left to manufacture one of the weapons. We can create the Volt shotgun. We can create the piercing bow. Looks like that bypasses armor, ignores cover, and oh, that's actually really tipped. Or ignore the blueprints and take the... You know what? Let's just take the production. I'm pretty happy with my existing weapons. Okay. I don't need to make any decisions about my production yet, but that's probably going to change next turn. Oh, they're going for my colony. Well, this is going to get creative. So we're evenly matched, but I have a feeling that their units are better. So we've got the Cellus Steel Eater. Suddenly the whole reef lurched towards the ship. No reef, a sea monster, a Cellus Steel Eater. For a moment we lost it in the surf. The skipper shrieked. The whole ship vaulted upward. The crew catapulted in every direction. This creature had no interest in eating the fleshy sailors bobbing in the briny blue waves. It lunged onto the vessel. Steel plating snapped in the Cellus's vice-like beak. We scrambled for anything that floated as the great behemoth decimated the ship's armor, as if it were the fish taco special. Sailor Sammy Sellis, RV 90210, Seashells by the Seashore. So plate crunch, high impact, stagger units, reducing action points and canceling defensive modes, bypasses all shields, metal feed, heal 8 when attacking a cyborg or mechanical unit. And then a hull piercer spike, medium ranged piercing attack, armor penetration 2, affected by line of sight rules. So unfortunately, my flying unit is not immune. And he's fairly tough, so he's got 3 armor and 45 health. Alongside the Octowhale. I swim with many ocean dwellers, but none is as protective as the gentle sea creatures as the Octowhale. They are often found swimming with Cellus, performing nurturing tasks for those it deems a friend. When my submersible lost power, an Octowhale lifted us from the depths, so that we could surface for air. It is as though it senses distress and wants to help. When threatened, it can shoot a thick glop of biotoxic ink from its blowhole, but I've never observed it to do so predatorially. Marine biologist, Dr. Ariel Triton, RV3423S, Under the Sea. That's a nice little reference. Okay, Crash. Crashes against a target within melee range, massive impact, stagger units, cancel, shield, so on and so forth. Ink Blob, blind, 8 strength chance to apply blinded, and Ink Cloud, eject a cloud of ink around this unit that damages adjacent units. So, and then defensive mode, Subverge. So the thing that's tricky here is that we are kind of melee oriented. So we'll see if we can do a little bit of a cat and mouse game as far as weakening them before the melee starts, but I might be in trouble. You know what? They are the ones who started this fight, so we'll let them come into range. The best, of course, is if I'm able to focus down one, or at the very least whittle them down before they're able to do any of their ranged attacks. So I'm going to try my luck. I really thought this was an area of effect attack. So I'd kind of prefer to go after the Steel Eater, but let's do what we can. Cementing spray, vomit, a hardening biochemical mix on the target. In case 8 strength chance to apply case for 2 turns. If resisted, this ability causes stagger instead. Okay, this is a good one. And then toxic spit. All right. It's not ideal, but let's weaken what we can and deal with the consequences afterwards. Okay, that's good. I might even consider, depending on what the, considering what happens next turn, I might even just pull back and let this do its magic for a few turns. Oh, it wants a fight. Yeah, this is smart. It's probably going to get the flank here as well. Okay, so I think the secret to this one is going to be to just completely ignore the... I'm going to ignore the poison guy in favor of damaging this comrade over here. If I can deliver the poison, so much the better. Oh, that's a shame. Alright, It's not much, but it'll contribute something. Another important step is it's going to force them to make a decision. So this is a fairly weak unit. I kind of hope that they don't go after this guy, but we'll see how it turns out. All right, that was a pretty big hit. Oh, this might actually be the end of this guy. That's a big problem if it is. Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to try the cementing spray. All right, that was that. And it resisted it, so yeah, that was a blunder. So now the trick is going to be, can I survive long enough to be able to whittle this guy down? Survey says no. We're dead. Oh, this is gonna suck. Yeah, so I let myself get flanked too many times.
Our forces have been defeated.
All right, that's fine. Gives me. I will admit I have relied a lot on. I've relied a lot on superior numbers when I play this game, so I definitely need to think a little bit more about how I approach sort of fair fights. Okay, so we're occupied. Technologist, if a man with a spade could build a hovel, imagine what he might build with all the tools that technology provides. It is time for us to give our armies the tools they need to build our glorious new empire.
Sharpen your claws, sunder the chains in your mind, fight for the hive. The subjugator's blood is an antidote to the poison of servitude. Behold their corruption and live free. Dick G-Clux, Swarm Herald, rallying cry.
Okay, regeneration is very tempting to go for right now, especially because that healing surge would have been something that could have helped me during the fight. The acidic composite is also nice, particularly with its melt armor ability, and of course the 10% increased damage. I think in this case, though, I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go heavier on making my my infantry stronger, and we're going to go for regeneration first. Then I might consider things like the Engulfer cast and whatnot. But
our colonies require the means to protect themselves and a reason to stay. At the very least, it's time to invest in some good old-fashioned guns and beer. Dollar Smith, Deneb Colony Mayor.
Sorry, guys, just need a second to. I still have half of my dinner waiting for me. But okay. Frontier facilities was for the colonizer and, of course, the morale improving abilities. Now, nurturing, I seem to remember this had a fairly decent one. There's a decent doctrine, right. An improvement to my food. Yeah, I think we're going to go for nurturing. It'd be tempting to go for some of these other ones, but in this case, there's a doctrine that I want out of that. Okay, so I think we need to try and liberate our colony. Hoxkrit Pat Poxnor, the Kirko Zama are blessed by your invitation to our native world. Sharing the coordinates of Zar Kirko with my fellow Kirko was my pleasure. Tell me, have you heard any word of another swarm herald trying to revive the Queen of Queens? Oh, Pozdignor. The Kirko Zama do not concern themselves with that matter. We have learned that, even as individuals, we are relying just as much on our swarmmates as the Kirko of old. Why should we give in to the instinctual desire of the hive mind when we're doing rather well without it? It is true, there are just as many of our brethren still yearning for the lost connection as there are Kirkos seeking to shape their own fate as individuals. The Kirko Term thank you and your colony for your thoughts. All right. So I believe this is the save my brothers quest, and then this is the last of the colonies. You know what? I did say I was gonna try and get claim this for the colonies. Let's head back and get what we can. Is there anything else I can be doing right now? No. So I was kind of hoping that I would have some reinforcements. Oh, it looks like I do. Never mind. So again, it doesn't have to be like an overwhelming force, but just something to try and push the fight in my favor. Ideally, we'll also take out that Marauder nest, but... So back to our plant friends.
Production ready.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do two full units before we start considering other tasks. I will make the nectar before the skirmisher barracks, though. Oh yes, I should actually improve my army. That's the whole reason I got this upgrade. Okay. So you guys definitely get Sundering Claws, so this will remove 1 armor from their target with each strike. Additionally, this mod grants 10% increased damage on all abilities, so this is kind of a no-brainer. Now, heightened vision. 20% increased accuracy, gains 1 strategic vision range. Okay, so what did this cost me if I... That's going to be 40. That's going to hurt when I want to build a colonizer, but I do like the idea of super soldiers. Horrors! Their cruelty knows no end. Cultists that boil our root nodules, consume our leaves, and pluck our children from the vine to be sliced and slathered in sugary nectar for their delight. Every growth tendril quivers at the horror of knowing that there's a cult of humanoids known simply by the appellation vegetarians. Alright. I think in this case I'm just going to get my stack to go to the capital because I know we're going to be spending around to get into the water anyway. And sorry, I don't normally like excuse me. I don't normally like snacking during stream, but I am still kind of hungry, so okay. Let's just keep you in the capital. How did your dog like being chased with the lightsaber? All right, I think this is strong enough that we can go after the bad guys.
Operations available for priming.
So bonus 25 to yeah, I think in this case we're just going to go for the extra food.
For decades, we slept in slavery, dreaming of a lost world and our martyred hive queen. Now we share a fresh vision, a healthy brood, and work for a future in which we can pursue our lost dream. G. Cuckoo Cosrax, Swarm Herald.
I didn't say what you thought of it. I asked what your dog thought of it. Okay, so I'm a little tempted to go for area surveillance, just because it starts unlocking things like operational effectiveness and whatnot. And to be honest, I'm not really able to develop any more of my territories right now. So let's take advantage of that and go for the lower tech. Okay, first things first, let's chat with our friends. We sense you approach. For what reason do you disturb our holistic endeavors? Paused ignore. You require this position? Please vacate. We understand your request, Paused Ignore. We have decided to comply and will seek elsewhere to germinate. This patch of soil will be yours to cultivate. Alright, and we'll annex the landmark just in time, actually, so. And not quite ready. Looks like there's really only one vegetarian. The rest are Kirko.
Production ready.
All right, looks like people are unhappy. That's not surprising because, of course, they've already got. We've already got the. We're working on the recreational dome. I lied. I'm not going to finish the nectar job unless the game tells me it's time sensitive. No, it's not. See, that's the worst incentive to give me, actually, because now I'm gonna waste the time on like everything else. But nothing else for me to do right now, so. All right, that's unfortunate. That less so. Now, it'd be nice if I had the tactical operations, but again, I'm kind of focused on a few other tasks right now, so. In this case, they are the ones who started the fight, so I can afford to... I can just afford to sit and wait. My only regret is that I don't have more units with Overwatch. Okay, so this guy does the greater damage. In this case, I want to take him out if I can. As for the rest, I think we're going to still try to engage at range, so... Actually, you know what? The problem with that approach is they're now going to be able to melee and completely cancel the swarm shield bonus that I got. But the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to try and take out this guy with my flying unit. You have failed your comrades. The 14 strength, or sorry, 14 damage grays. Well, they're definitely doing a good job of flanking me to death. I mean, all told, that was a fairly smart bit of business they did. Let's start to see if the gunk shot can turn the tide. It's utterly failed to do so.
Enemy annihilated.
Okay, so the dilemma here, of course, is that this guy is toast if we don't... Alright, so that missed. In this case, I think we're just going to engage him straight in hand-to-hand. It's a fresh unit, so...
Enemy killed.
If I lost a unit off of that, I would have been very upset. Alright, so we reclaimed it. We are at 475 strength. They are at 420. So in this case, it certainly is not going to hurt for me to just take a little time to wait it out. Now, Sunshine Synthetics, pre-built food exploitation. So I have to rebuild the hydro exploitation. As far as Sunshine Synthetics, let's actually make sure that we've got everything we need. So, special nutrition centers that use genetically superior food from overgrown biodome farm can give units a boost during their training by increasing their fortitude. All non-mechanical units produced by this colony gain +5 maximum health. That sounds great. Alright, clearly I need to deal with the Marauders here, so we've got the Syndicate Enforcer. The protesters were fools. Syndicate noble merchants all have money and power. A bunch of shouting people won't change that. Who fights the Syndicate Enforcers expecting to get away without some kind of injury? Each punch with their psi-powered gauntlet is the equivalent of force being beaten. Is the equivalent force of being beaten by an angry mob. Their psi-tech weaponry can create shields, and if things get out of control, inflicts crippling wounds on the unruliest dissidents. In the Syndicate, if you want a long life, you should lay low, keep quiet, and obey. Nuzifer Atu, Propagandist, RV9527H, Revisions of Syndicate History. Alright, so I could probably do an auto-combat on this, but I definitely need the practice. Hey, Sungif, how you doing? So, Johnny, what's it going to take to get you to play a strategy game on your stream again? So for the indentured, it's worth remembering that I do believe I get shield bonuses. Yeah, so that's Arc. I'm slightly curious for these Enforcers. If they do the Bone Crusher, bypasses all armor but not shields. Interesting. You're stuck on the first random encounter in Tyranny, you feel like, oh man, Tyranny's a great game. I definitely preferred it to Pillars of Eternity, although I know most people feel the opposite, I think. Johnny's an old man, so he's not really into games anymore. He's all about like reading books and like doing stuff with his life. All right. So I don't have a lot to fear from these guys. I think I just need to figure out where I set up my wall. The only thing that kind of bugs me, I don't have any really good candidates for attacks, but as far as the hidden are concerned, I think we'll just set up an Overwatch of our own. Honestly, when it really comes down to it, this is going to be about rushing through this gap. So somebody's going to wind up punched in the face. I kind of already know that. The question is, do I get punched in the face while I'm in a defensive position, or do I get punched in the face while I'm... Yeah, we'll keep our defensive position. I think the biggest reason for that is just because the melee attacks are already going to go through our shields. Yeah, so for those of you wondering where this is... I mean, I just generally like sassing Johnny, but one of my hidden goals... you know what? I actually think I'm going to... I know I'm not going to get the defensive point, but it's probably better that I get the Swarm Shield. At this point, I will protect my hidden a little bit. But Johnny has actually done my favorite stream of XCOM. So I secretly hope that he will either do Enemy Within or he'll either do Enemy Within or he will do... So they went for the one guy who didn't have Swarm Shield. That's fine though. Or he'll do XCOM 2. Because honestly, he did such a good job of those. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm not close enough to kick the crap out of the enforcer. So what we're going to do instead is just throw up on them. Now, if I'm so inclined, apparently I can just run in and melee this guy down. But again, we're all clustered together like this, so I don't want to upset that too much. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to move my flying unit up so that we can distribute a few more points of Swarm Shield. Not quite enough to take the guy out, but I believe he's affected by choking. Yeah. So rather than trying to take this guy out, let's focus on the Dvar. Alright. Guys suck as snipers. Oh, these guys are gonna get swarmed. So, I mean, these guys are all shielded, so I'm not too worried about any of that. First things first, let's clear things out for my commander. You know what? It would have been smarter for this guy. Or no, hang on, because you can get one move. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm just going to move my commander up a little bit, and then we'll...
Enemy eliminated.
So, Dvar taken care of. Now, we basically just want to swarm... We want to swarm this place as best as we can, while still leaving room for our brethren. So... And of course, getting the flanked is always nice, too, so... you know what? Looks like we're only going to be able to get 2 units in, but... That's fine, I can live with that, because this is of course a ranged unit. Anything they do is going to cause them a world of pain. Normally I'd like to move in a little bit closer, but actually, you know what? I think I'm going to stay right where I am, and that way I distribute the swarm shields.
Enemy down.
So as you can see, not too much damage there.
Victorious.
Of course, these weren't the vegetarians, so now we're going to go after them. So 440, new unit at the Forest Moon of Gen 2. We discovered the Terratech Research Park stripped of all of its tech. Disappointed in the loss of such valuable assets, the team searched the forest. That's when we saw them. Powerful females armed with ultra-modern bows. These huntresses moved like ghosts and in and out of the trees. Visible one moment, gone the next. We demanded that they surrender their armor and weapons, clearly using modified tech from the old Star Union facility. Ignoring us, they launched a volley of modified arrows, some laced with biotoxins and others that produced blinding flashes. Major Matt Maxim, RV-3424M, Terratech Salvage Mission Gen 2. So bio arrows are probably the biggest thing that I'm worrying about. Fire arrows with biochemical tips at the target. Flash arrow, high impact, stagger units, blind, 8 strength. It's cool, got a cooldown though. Visual acuity, okay, that's not as important. Yeah, we'll leave that be. Transcendent. Now, we haven't actually used this guy yet, but the big thing about him is the absorb pain, so they can link with someone to reduce the damage that they take. They take the damage themselves. They also have psionic mending, which means that you can suck up a lot of damage through a transcendent, but then also heal yourself up. So if you've got a unit that you want to throw into the middle of the fight and not have to worry too much about the consequences, a transcendent's perfect there. So, it spoke through my daughter's mouth, that hovering insect known as a transcendent. It spoke of slavery and revenge, about taking back what was theirs. Our strongest fought back. They died breaking a hole through their forces for us to escape. I saw how gashes inflicted on bugs ripped spontaneously across the transcendent, as if it shared their pain. Wounds closed within seconds of being inflicted. The floating bug unleashed a barrage of pain into our minds. Grown men cried incoherently. Those who could fled in all directions. Joshua Dinnerstem, RV14998H, Septinium Colony Massacre. And then, I never actually read the Kirko Frenzy. These are the same units that we've been using. We are frenzied, branded as worker tools. Our claws thirst for reaping. We work for our mindless mother. We are not them. We work until our vanished queen returns. She calls from the empty. They think she died. The earth's fertile wealth will feed our broken. We are strongest in the true swarm. We follow our forgotten purpose. We fight those who exiled our queen. Too long we have worked for them. Now we fight. They desire sweet nectar. We'll give them bile. We are the frenzied. Message repeats. Kirko Interrogator, Translation Unit, Translation Errors, RV1457D, the Caribus broken. Alright. By the way, for those of you who do like books, I am currently reading a book by J.G. Ballard, and there's a movie based off of it, so some of you will already know what book I'm talking about. It's called Crash. I'm 2 chapters in. That is some very intense content. I think is the most diplomatic way that I can put that. Okay, I can Overwatch. Yeah, let's Overwatch from safety. Alright, now again, this is kind of the core of my army, so before I do anything too crazy, let's move my main guy up. So this is not really the unit that I want to attack, because it's just going to do damage to the Transcendent. On the other hand, I don't really have any other targets, so I'd much rather get some damage on the Transcendent, even if it means it's going to heal it up. Alright, and we completely failed to do anything with that. So you know what, while I wait, clearly they're going to be coming in through here, but you know what? I bet they're going to be able to throw up on us. So I'm going to move my guys up close, but not too close. Of course, if I miscalculated and they are able to throw up on us, I am in a bit of trouble. I didn't think about. I thought the blinding attack was one. Oh wow, yeah, this was a complete disaster. For some reason, I thought that was like mountainous. Yeah, so I thought the blinding arrow was a single unit attack, and for some reason, I thought they wouldn't be able to pass this, despite the fact that there was absolutely no indication in the game whatsoever that that assumption was correct. And now we're just missing everywhere, even when we're not blind. Okay. So my first inclination is actually just to start throwing up on these guys. So they've kind of already used their vomit. So I might as well fight fire with fire. We're clearly in a weaker spot. So I'll make the most of a bad situation and extract my revenge. Or exact my revenge. Yeah, it's not surprising. So that's a reasonably smart move that they did, seeing as there wasn't any way to there wasn't really any way to counterattack. Oh, my commander's down. Now I really need to win this fight. Alright. right. That's absolutely brutal.
Enemy destroyed.
So I still need to contend with the fact that we're blind, but in this particular case, we'll do the damage that we can to the unit that's going to fall no matter what. Then we'll start focusing on the one that's absorbing the damage.
Enemy eliminated.
And in this case, oh, yeah, that wasn't smart. I didn't think it was going to get the Overwatch attack, but the flank might pay for it. Because this guy is fresh. Although he doesn't have his swarm shield anymore, so I probably should have thought that through. Okay, so first priority, of course, is to take out this unit. Well, it's a start.
Enemy killed.
Okay, so that's a much needed lifeline. So at this point I should basically be getting a bunch of flanking. Oh wow, we
Enemy
annihilated that guy.
The enemies of the hive have been defeated.
So when you lose your leader, it's not a permanent death as long as they survive. So the specific ability is called Resurgence. So when the unit dies in combat, it is revived at the end of combat if its owner is victorious. Revived units are brought back with 50% of their maximum health. I'm not clear whether or not they get the experience or not. I don't think it says what the experience gain in a fight was. Yeah, so in this case it says for the XP earned, it doesn't really say anything. So I'm going to guess you don't if you fall. Cult of Salad. Our leaves are tranquil upon the wind. We will never forget the horrors of this cuisine, but we recognize your contribution in eliminating them. So we'll take the reward. I don't think there's really anything else for me to get here, so we should probably turn our attention to cleaning up Plicklick Pier Gulf. In terms of the next place I want to take, there's two tempting targets. So the extra energy is nice here. We can go absolutely nuts with the food, but I just think there's better food options on the table, so to speak. So this one's a good argument for science. This one's a good argument for industry. This one's a good argument because of the food as well as the fact that there's energy. The question is whether or not I'm really willing to have my industry fall back that long. The one big temptation for me to go for this area is because we're going to be clearing it out anyway. Though to be completely honest, I think at this point I'm just going to send my guys out to... So one, I'm going to explore a little bit. And then number two, we're going to go deal with those slavers as soon as possible. I may not be strong enough for it, but we'll do our best.
We assumed the swarm would prevail, but our enslavers' technology outpaced their lack of offspring. They healed their wounded, despite their caste. We must mimic our enslavers, replacing our natural instinct to consume the swarm's weakest and heal them instead. Tatika the kind, I've only a path.
So the real dilemma I have here is the fact that accelerated healing costs me Cosmite, and I need that Cosmite for colony ships. So, I can get some cheap upgrades on the Synombra biochemical. Not really the psionics, but I do kind of need to get some tactical tactical abilities. So the cheapest way for me to get that would be in biochemical applications, I think. Foreboding Darkness is tempting, but I don't actually have any psionic units. On the other hand, it does give me the Gloom Beam, so... See, the thing is, the acidic composite is tempting, because I do use... Like, I do throw up on people a lot. Then there's the biochemical maceration. A macerating biochemical agent is released in a 1-hex radius, reducing the affected unit's biochemical resistance by 3 for 3 turns. These units also have an 8 strength chance of becoming slow for that duration. I mean, it's not bad. Honestly, though, I think Foreboding Darkness is the one to go for here. Out of the things that give me tactical operations, I kind of feel like that one's the stronger of the two. As much as, you know, slow can be very helpful in circumstances. Okay, these guys are... So I've got one somewhat weak... Oh, see. I need you to become sharp-sighted, but I don't have the resources for that yet. We'll move him in closer, but I kind of got to be careful because my stronger unit is the one that's... Sorry, the stronger attack unit is the one that's currently at half health.
Production ready.
Alright, so in 2 turns I'll have the unhappiness dealt with and we'll have another colony ship. That's one of the reasons why I'm getting my my other guy to go exploring, because I haven't actually figured out where Site B is, although anywhere near Cosmite sounds like a really good location. Alright. We've worked hard to forge friendships with the peoples of this world, and it is time for us to reap the rewards of our labors. We should use our newfound influence to learn secrets, hire mercenaries, and to sign treaties that will give us allies in times of war.
Empire task completed.
This world teems with life and opportunity. The natives here have a rich culture and could teach us much. We should send an emissary to make contact with these people and begin a new era of peace. Now, we were late, so we don't get the extra 25 influence, but we do get the emissary for the... And our symbiosis has been altered, pause to ignore. Now available for trade. And for those of you wanting the space bees, we've got the worker bees and the soldier bees. We also have poison glands. So let's actually have a chat with our leafy friends. So we seek to trade with you, Growth. Nope, I can't afford the poison gland, so we'll just hold off on that for now. But yeah, I definitely wanted to get the Cosmite tile as quickly as possible, so... I may have to set up base here. It's not the most exciting choice that I could make, but... In this particular case, seeing as I know I want to go up here, I'm actually going to start moving my units in this area. It's tempting to just fight these things right away. Yeah, I actually don't have a lot of options if I want to get the Cosmite. This probably ruined my chance of liberating this aquatic nest. Yeah, that's fine. Just gives me an extra round to heal.
Doctrine enacted.
The new generations are our future, so the larger the new generation is, the better. All owned colonies benefit from an increase of 20% food income. So, of course, the priority here is that I build lots of colonies so that I can get that population bonus even, really ramping up. Easier said than done, of course. I need to make sure that I actually produce enough colonizers. I don't think there's much else for me to do right now, so we'll just go... We'll see whether or not these guys attack me. They do, so we've got an Amazon Lancer. I chose Landon from the herd of juvenile arrowtails. Though bioengineered to carry me, I felt its warmth under my thighs, its heaving muscular frame bucking under me. We blazed into battle with unmatched speed, striking at the enemy's flanks. It was for Landon that I trained harder than my fellow Lancers. I used my energy buckler to shield Landon's hypnotic eyes from harm. How can one as young as I express the bond shared with my first mount? It was physical, emotional, and spiritual. Hanover Jane, romance novelist. RV3424E, Lancers of the Forest. It's like reading Crash. Alright. So, I should not lose anything on this fight. Although I actually didn't see what the abilities of the Lancer are, so I maybe should be a little careful on that. So, a Lancer. Laser Lance Strike strikes the target with Laser Augmented Lance, high impact, melee, flanker. Okay, and then fire a powerful blast from the tip of the laser spear. Okay, so I do not want this thing to get anywhere near the side of me. By the way, should I reread that with like my close into the mic voice? Or do you guys get the get the idea? Now again, if I was the AI here, I'd move the Kiriko in first and leave the Lancer untouched. We'll see whether or not they have the same idea. And it looks like I'm not actually able to shoot anyone. So, same story. Oh, you know what? I don't even have the Overwatch because I didn't pick it. Well, that's going to be interesting. So, at the very least, we can get the swarm shields up, but I have a feeling this is going to be a bit of a feeding frenzy for the bad guys. Yeah.
Operations ready.
All right. So as much as I'd love to start popping off on the Lancer, let's get with the damage that we can. As for the rest of it, I mean, they chose the fight, so I am under no obligation to play their game. Okay, so I gotta be a little careful about this. Because of course the flanks will hurt, but if I can weaken the other units with these pot shots, it's hard for me not to take the opportunity. And then if I get really desperate, obviously I can spend 30 bucks on a healing surge because there's actually you know what? Can jump to nearby friendly units in a 2 hex radius 2 times. I feel dumb that I did this, but I do get points for using tactical abilities. Okay, so one of my guys is choking. That's a shame. Okay, so the important thing here was that wasn't a flank, so what we need to do now is make sure that they pay. I think in this case I'm going to try and go for a flank on this sorry fellow. Still not enough to finish the job, unfortunately. But yeah, at this point, I definitely want to make sure that we are causing as much pain as possible on the Amazon. Now, the real dilemma I have here is whether or not I want to go for a third, basically have a third target and allow that my guys are going to get flanked from the other frenzied unit. I think in this case I'm just going to lock down the flanker. This won't be great for me, but Oh, okay. Or I just annihilate these guys from from behind. Yeah, I'm sure the Amazon really appreciates that move. Alright. First things first, let's get my flying unit to throw up on the enemy.
Enemy killed. Enemy down.
No point in risking the response
Enemy
from
down.
the bad guys.
The enemies of the hive have been defeated.
Alright, yeah, so you don't get experience if your commander dies in the... or falls in the combat. Good to know. So here we'll collect the goodies. You know what? As much as I want to send my colonizer out, I feel like I should deal with anything that's generating marauders, because that's going to come back to bite me pretty quick.
If you want to improve your capabilities, you don't just set a goal, you must also monitor it. Only by carefully watching your progression, guarding against backsliding, can you achieve solid success. Tony Rubio Strong, Manpower and Machine Motivational Consulting.
So before I pick, I need to think about what my next development's going to be. I am mildly tempted to go for this industry site. So, with that in mind, let's do production development. It'd be nice to do operational effectiveness, but I think in this case I want to try and get the advantage of industry earlier when I can. Okay. Let's just suck it up and attack the bad guys. This is actually a lot more balanced than I want it to be, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chomp down on the Cellist Steel Eater first, and then we can finish off the Octawhales. Unless, of course, they keep that thing in hiding. Yeah, it looks like they're keeping everybody together. Okay. It's going to be a little unconventional, but... I don't even really know what I'm doing. Oh, damn it. I thought I was going to be able to get the Overwatch. Alright. That's not quite what I had in mind, and now I'm just going to get a bunch of penalties for clustering all my guys together. But they are still going to get the shield, so I'm just going to have to accept that this was less than ideal. Although there's really no forgiving the fact that I did not put my guy in a position where he can get defensive. Interesting. Okay, so they decided not to fight. Well, if that's the case, I'm just going to give everyone the defensive bonuses I want them to have, and unless they actually continue with the fight, I'm just going to keep firing shots at them. Yeah, thought so. So again, they're going to get an area effect on us. Oh, maybe not. That hurt. So I might wind up losing people because of this. So of two minds on this. One, we mob the guy in the middle here. Number two, we move up. I think I kind of want to occupy this guy first. Wow, that was a bad choice. I think in this case I'm going to accept a bit of damage on my guys to keep them from attacking the weaker units. And we'll go up here. Not quite the outcome I was looking for, so this guy might be in trouble. See if I can do this without losing a unit. Nope.
Unit destroyed.
Well, that hurt. Okay.
Enemy annihilated.
Okay, fortunately that was enough to seal the deal. Can this guy... Yeah, so the Overwatch is going to be too much.
Enemy annihilated.
Alright, so this guy could potentially die doing this, but he could also finish the round, so... Nope, he died.
Unit is falling.
So he might actually lose all three. I'll be honest, this is a pretty pitiful showing.
Enemy annihilated. Our forces are victorious.
But we did get some... Hey, we got a penguin. Just in time for me to make a unit of misfit toys. Okay, so obviously I need to take some time to rebuild this army. And it looks like the bad guys have already finished the
Production ready.
the build is actually pretty good. Is a pretty good objective to complete. I do like the doctrine bonus that it gives me, but let's think a little bit about what I want to do the next few rounds. I think all of this stuff is good. I do need to finish the colonizing unit. I do need to finish the upgrade. This is good for my extra units. It's debatable as to whether or not I need the hidden right away. So let's do the sharp-sighted first. Obviously, we're going to do this after the nutrition center, though, so we can get the extra health. And I'm really not sure if I want the transcendent yet. There's definitely an argument for it, but... Wait. This is going to wind up being the food sector, isn't it? I'm not really sure if I want it as a food sector. Yeah, I can change it later. We demand Sonril's essence to keep symbiosis. Pause to ignore. Sure.
Open their wounds. Fix their pleas on vengeance. Call light darkness, blind their eyes with injustice, eclipse the sun, deny it purpose, choke out their hopes with ashes of despair. They disbelieve daylight. Gloom is their haven. Jivori of House Ardeli.
I'll admit, one of the things I really like about having Eyes of Sin in the channel is she called these guys the snooty elves, and I absolutely cannot get that out of my head every time I hear that voice now. Alright, so we've got my Gloom Beam. I really don't have a broader strategy for how I'm going to use my units yet, to be completely honest, so I'm tempted to just go for the Engulfer cast so that I can get a few more airborne units. We're being eaten alive. Our branches are stripped bare, sap spilling out of open wounds. There is pain with every cut these animals inflict. Our fruits and nectar are freely available, yet that is not enough for some. Return our nutrients by committing the plant eaters' bodies to the ground. Alright. We should be able to manage that. Yeah, I have units in the area. I do want to take out the marauders first, though, so let's move these guys back home. We'll get these guys in. This is actually going to be a tough fight, I think. 500. So these are tough flankers. We've seen the foreman before, the indentured. We should be able to handle it, but definitely I'm going to want to be careful with my melee units. Oh, the Void Storm's going to throw this off. Alright, no, this is going to be a hard fight. We should be able to make it, though. They are in a decent defensive position, though, so the idea of running... It's like I can't wait them out, but the idea of like running up these walls and trying to take them out is also a really hard one. Okay, so let's just take a minute and see what's the deal with dimensional instability. Unit has kinetic weakness. Void Storm. Unit is affected by Void Storm in the sector nullifying. Regeneration received per strategic turn. Alright. I mean, it's a pain, but we'll live with it. I am most inclined to go out and around like this. So they still have mortars, which can cause us some problems, but let's build ourselves... Oh yeah, actually the kinetic weakness is going to be a real pain against the foreman. Might try and get my commander in a different spot, just to give me an unfair advantage. Alright, well, we'll start with that. Anything to hurt the flankers, to be honest. As far as these guys, I mean, again, this is an ideal placement, but I do want to make sure that my my melee swarm is getting the advantage of the swarm shields. And as far as my... See, the silly thing is, I normally wouldn't do this with a unit like this, but this is the spot where I want to keep them. This is more just so that I can distribute the swarm shields evenly. So whatever comes after us will at least get some shield bonuses. Okay, that's fair. That guy's immobilized for a bit, but he will be defending my my sniper, so that's also not the worst place he could have wound up stuck. Now there's going to be a big mortar to make us sad. Okay, that stagger's going to mean that I can't fire my gun next round. I did not think they were going to get that close. Well, actually, you know what? That's completely fair traversal. I haven't really been thinking this through.
Operations ready.
That's fine. Let's start with... It's a little different from what I was expecting, but... Okay, so these guys are stuck. So let's start by throwing up on the enemy.
Enemy down.
So the only dilemma here is I don't really have any way of getting to these other folks. I can work on the snapshot, though. This seems like the best. This guy's a little stuck in terms of what he can do. Let's move him up. No, not quite. Nice! Ah, I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Enemy annihilated.
We'll just eliminate that as a as a possibility. Okay. So knowing that these guys have an escape module now, let's gonna move this up again. We'll get the swarm shield even if it leaves my commander open. Let's do a gunk shot on the foreman. Seeing as I know these guys have the escape module now, I'm a little less inclined to give him a break. We'll take everyone else out before we go after the flanker. Alright, that could have been worse. So... kind of start with the obvious. Oh, that's right. This guy is locked in place still.
Enemy eliminated.
That was a pretty easy call. Sure. At the very least, it'll lock him down for the next round.
Enemy eliminated.
Now, what I'm going to do here, normally I would want to try and take this unit out, but what I do if I do that is I give them a reasonably, like a 75% health unit with a free move, and it's going to be a flanker, so chances are my guys are going to be exposed to them. So in this case, I'm going to force them to suicide this unit, take up the turn, and then the turn following, I'm going to basically unleash my army on them. So yeah, Overwatch. I didn't know they get the turn right away. Anyways, yeah. So in this case, it's not quite the same.
Enemy killed.
Not quite the same worry.
The enemies of the hive have been defeated.
Okay. Looks like we got some goodies. Again, I kind of want to close the gap and take care of the slavers, take care of the missions and whatnot, but it's hard to turn down. Hard to turn down presents. Okay, let's take a look at my options. So I've wanted to use Watchman a couple of times, so that's tempting, but I only have 5 skill points. Let's see what some of my other options are. Selfless Sacrifice. So this gives me the same benefit that the Transcendent has. The only problem is that this guy doesn't have a healing ability. Devour Hope again. Well, actually, no, because that's the one that heals. So actually, Devour Hope might be useful here. So Watchman and Devour Hope. Actually, I can do both.
Operations available for priming.
So it's tempting to do the... I remember I used to drop, like, monitors all over the place, but I don't exactly have the budget for that yet. That's basically a little over a turn's worth of income, and I'm not 100% sure I need the monitors quite yet, but I will keep that in mind. Now, again, the unit of Misfit Toys. Oh, nope. The Kirko Colonizer. From the ashes of the Star Union, a new age will dawn. The fallen empire hides powerful secrets yet to be found, a race in earnest to revive the powers hidden in our past. The colonizer is the first step towards that revival. The nurturing of colonies and the development of society is of delicate importance, more so for a foreign and unfamiliar planet with dangers unknown. The cosmic dark age is over, and the legendary remnants of the empire lay dormant, waiting to be rediscovered. Quinlan T. Ordovexus, RV 4367H, Universal Coincidental History. So I wasn't actually originally planning on this is, they're not quite ready to move. Oh, you hear that? My phone thinks I should go to sleep. I still have about 45 minutes though, so. I still haven't quite worked out where my colony should be yet. I might actually be forced to build it here. But again, I'll do the thing that you should never do in a 4X game and move my colonizer unit out on its own. Okay, first things first, we'll grab... Oh, that's right, we're going to leave... We actually need to wait another turn to not stop the embarkation.
Production ready.
Okay, so we've got development. That's fine. Yeah, all of these are the priorities that I want them to be. Might do another sharp-sighted frenzied. Again, I might reconsider some of these priorities, but for now, definitely boost the development, seeing as I definitely have lost more than a few turns of those bonuses. Alright, I may regret this, but I think these things stay, I hope these things stay put. If they don't, I am in deep trouble. So yeah, honestly, I think in this case we'll just we'll take the 2 units, we'll rebuild, and we'll... Actually, you know what, it's going to take me a while to build these things, so let's at least go fulfill the other mission objective. Yeah, we've completely abandoned the colonizer unit, so I really hope
Production ready.
that thing doesn't get eaten. Hooray! We're not dead! Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're not surviving that.
There's a way to do anything. There's also a smarter way to do anything. Trade secrets are often more about a well-trained workforce than a secret sauce. Tony Rubio Strong, Manpower and Machine Motivational Consulting.
Alright, I think the next one we'll worry about would be research and development. The question is, do I want that over an extra doctrine? I think the answer is no, because it's going to take us a while to get another annex. Alright, let's see if there's a fight that breaks out. I am a very lucky man. Okay. So kind of every turn this hangs around, this isn't really giving me the advantage of another colony. I think what I'll do here, though, let's deal with the locusts. I more or less have an idea in terms of what the area looks like. It's also possible that I can build the colony on the Cosmite, and it's not a terrible location. Yeah, we'll try and make it work. Okay, looks like I get to annex a new location. So I think I said I was going to go for the industry, then the science. Although with that in mind, obviously it makes a lot more sense to clear out the marauders. Again, we're committed to the to exploring this location, though.
Production ready.
We're ready to produce new units, so that's good. We'll have extra vitality on them. And I think... the brood cluster definitely seems like a really good thing to build, which I should have done before. Are those the right priorities? Right, okay, this is the upgrade to Sunshine Synthetic, so that makes sense. Yeah, no, this all works.
Happiness event in colony.
Due to happiness of your population, there's a boost in knowledge income. The colony's knowledge income is increased by 100% this turn. A terrible blight is spreading through our Earths. The false symbiote has emerged, set on making us part of its corruption. Halt this plague before it consumes the planet. Okay, so that's 6 units this time. That's going to be a little harder to deal with, especially with my main force out on an adventure. So in this case here, what I'm going to do... Okay, the Cosmite stash is nice. So 1, negotiate with the last colony. 2, pick up the Cosmite. 3, go back to my home base to collect my units. And then 4, profit. I don't have that much more on the cast, but if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to take a minute to refill my water, and I also need to take a quick bio break. So I'll just be gone for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So see you guys just in a quick minute. All right, thank you very much for waiting for me. I know that was a little longer than I was planning. I got a quick text, and I really didn't want to respond to it, but I had to. Okay. 5 turns to get rid of the Locust Plague. Let's keep the colonizer where it is for now. Alright, so... Hopperhound Blade Maw. The bright red carapace clicked. It inched backwards against a cliff wall. It was the largest hopperhound we'd seen in generations. Long bloody slashes adorned the few remaining hunting dogs that brayed at it. The townsfolk closed in, raising their rifles for the kill. The first shot cracked the air, but the huge red hopper was already gone. It leapt over the dogs and encroaching villagers, striking a soldier. The man fell flat, dropping his weapon, as the creature's razor-sharp claws stabbed at him. Brian Froden, RV3480E, hunting bugs on the frontier. So, the big thing about the hopper hounds are that so normally when you set up for your kind of wall of death overwatch, they can usually tend to jump over them and knock back the unit from cover. So, the thing is, for this one, we have a bunch of melee units as well, so we're able to... I don't need to worry as much about them as I do the way I play the Vanguard, but... Welcome. What in the world is... What is that, John? That's awesome, but how did you do that? Then there's the Hopperhound Manhunter. Very similar. I remember the first year in Sundew Valley in the farming colony. The rich soil and favorable climate made life ideal for growing crops. Our community grew strong as we lived our happy lives one bounteous harvest after the next. We prospered for a decade, spreading out over the valley until something wicked awoke in Hopper Hill, a manhunter. Green and covered in spines, its legs were scythes, leaping across our fields. It cares nothing for our crops. It hungers for the men who cultivate the land. We are its crop. Patchy Maz, RV6988D, The Surrender of Sundew Valley. That gives you 900 points. Like, did you pick how... like, did you pick how to set up the sunglasses on it? Because I actually really like that. I actually don't have that in my list, it looks like. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, they did a really good job of putting the sunglasses on. That's really funny. Yeah. There are new emotes coming, by the way. I don't know. What do you think of that, Isaacson? Obviously, I think your expressive features are still my favorite, but that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, but I'm the streamer. I should be able to do anything. Okay. So if I can fire something at them, it's good. If I can't fire something at them, then it's bad. Nicely done. So yeah, again, the more damage I can do to these, the happier I am. Though to be completely honest, at this point, seeing as all of this stuff is melee related, I'm actually going to leave my ranged units as bait, and I'm going to leave the rest of the melee units are just going to wait for them to come into the area. Which will be happening sooner rather than later. Oh yeah, they're going to beat the crap out of my hero.
Operations available.
Alright, so I need to clear out the area before anything else. So first thing, let's deal with
down.
fiery guy. And I believe if I stay in this area, I get burned. The challenge is that if I stay put, yeah, this is a dilemma. Let's just try and punch this thing as much as we can. Gotta be careful on how I hit this thing. God, I really want to try Devour Hope, but now is not the time. So I would have preferred to use the vomit on this this flying beastie, but I kind of need to free things up for my commander. So the other dilemma, of course, is that he's going to wind up hit by these guys. Really no fixing it, though. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Start with Devour Hope on the Pterodactyl. Give myself a little bit of healing. And then this is sort of the air-to-air combat unit anyway. So we get a nice swarm bonus for having these guys in the area. It's too gloomy to hit. Wrong neighborhood. Alright, this should be pretty straightforward. So, number one, we shoot the thing down.
Enemy annihilated.
Yeah. Mission's not done yet. Okay. Now, assuming that these aren't oh yeah, no, we kicked their
Enemy
ass.
destroyed. The enemies of the hive have been defeated. Objective completed.
The plague has been halted. We will recover by feeding upon the nourishment from the plant eaters' bodies. Our gratitude. Alright. I feel good about myself after doing that. Oh. Hello, plant people. So, next plan. Go to the north, clear out the bad guys up here, and claim land for the glory of the swarm. And again, I actually haven't sorted out... So, this is arguably the most tempting because it gives me the Cosmite area, the energy, and a food tile. But the same argument could be made for this because, well, it's not particularly well endowed, like, as a standalone territory. It's next to a lot of useful stuff, and it's not that far away from sort of my central location. So I think I'm actually gonna try and hold out for the colony in Umkata Kir 2, or To.
Just envision a better life where all the tasks you hate are automated. We don't wish to replace you with a robot. Once it's trained, you'll thank us for eliminating inefficiencies. Dean Nupar, efficiency expert.
Okay, so I've got my production development. If I'm honest, the most likely candidate for a place I'm actually going to develop would be energy, but research is a higher priority for me at the moment. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. I also need to be thinking about things like aquatic development and whatnot, because there's definitely a lot of bonuses I'm leaving on the table. But again, these are kind of a priority, given the resources I'll have in the immediate future through my exploitation. So you can sleep.
it Queen of Queens, that you could see all of your clever children. We have taken to the skies. We will find your hiding place. We will engulf this world searching. Secto Xato, the Swarm Seer.
So I think the Engulfer is not a bad unit. I think there's a slightly better one, though. What was it? Was it the Barrager? I don't think that's right. Maybe it was the Engulfer. Anyways, I did kind of prefer it to the other flying unit that I had. However, I'm a little stumped in terms of my military now. The catch on this is that I really haven't been using... that's not true, actually. I should think about my hidden and what psionic boosts I want to give them. I'm going to leave biochemical applications for a little while, though. Let's do Domain of Purification.
Operations available for priming.
So I do have a spare... Influence is nice. The extra experience is probably nicer. I think for now I'll spend on the dream sharing, but that's just because I don't have a better alternative for the moment. Okay. Storm Herald paused to ignore. It is good to feel your presence. Have you heard the news? The SKU will return to our hive. Let us all prepare to welcome home our Queen of Queens. What news? So far we've only found distant rumors, but nothing of credibility. It is true. The Hatch sister, the Cocoon Guardian of the Kirko Nelim's third broodmother's Swarm Gorger, twice removed, heard it from Pact Core. The Queen has been made alive here on Zakir Ko by another Swarm Herald who followed your call. I see. But how exactly does that Swarm Herald want to bring her back? How would I know? I'm no Transcendent or Dream Reader, but isn't it exhilarating? I can already hear the gentle voice of the SKU reach out to me in my mind. Chaos brought to the swarm by the Zok Shiar will soon return to order in her motherly embrace.
Objective completed.
Alright, this is going to be the next target, although I think, again, it says there's, I think there's a fairly, yeah, there's 6 units, so I want to be careful against them. So this is going to be a particularly challenging effort, not just because I'm going to be going after the Marauders. This is 440, so I'm not too worried about that. But these guys, this is a 6-stack, and it looks like it... Oh no, it's just a hidden, so it's not a big deal. I thought that for a second that meant that they were in despair. I'm not that lucky. Alright, anyways, we'll clear out the Marauders because that should give me access to the territory, and then we'll clear out the Cosmite because I need Cosmite.
Protection ready.
I do really like your emote game, Johnny. I don't know if this is just because I generally associate you with, like, being very funny, but it is incredibly amusing to see you, see your emote shenanigans. Now, I would have thought I would have been able to do an industrial boost in... I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have taken this if... Oh no, hang on. This doesn't have anything to do with the... Yeah, okay, so I don't need to have industrial exploitation. I keep forgetting that. Okay, well, I get another hydro exploitation. I keep putting off all this other really important stuff I could be doing, but... You're a truth seeker, Pox Tignor. You tried to find answers, and now we find ourselves face to face. I am Secto Zato, Swarm Herald of the Kirko Nosrix. Hawkstrit Pat, Secto Zato. Jesus Christ, do these people not ever think of streamers while writing this? I remember the Kirko Nosrix from the second Dream of Lit Back. It is a colony with a strong jigsaw. Is it true what the rumors say, that you are indeed trying to revive the SKU? Thank you, Swarm Herald Seko Zato, for allowing me to join the telepathic connection. My name is Zarai Lorig. I am here as an envoy of Princess Carminia to make amends to your people for the troubled past. We wish to restore what was broken, and have offered Secto Zato to help in recreating the Kirko Queen of Queens. With Zarai's expertise and access to the old Terratech data, we can retrieve the correct genome and bring SKU back. Once brought to life, our queen will renew the hive mind that once united all Kirko. Are you really going to go through with this? What about the Kirko who do not wish for the hive mind and have grown used to their individuality and freedom? The queens are the mellow voice that molds the swarm. This is how it once was, and how it was always meant to be. All will connect our new hive in unity, Posdignor. You have already returned their lost home world back to our people. Will you also give them back their identity? I do not believe I said that, Johnny, but this is a tricky one. All right. I know that this is probably going to be one of these things that I'm not necessarily going to consider chat's will binding, but what do you guys think? Do you think we should help to revive the queen and bring back the old ways, or should we oppose the revival? From my point of view, I actually very strongly value individuality. And so, if given my personal choice, I would have opposed the revival. But in this particular case, I am somewhat inclined to bringing back the queen. There's something on my monitor that's really bugging me. Oh, I screwed up. There we go. Or maybe people are not as invested as I am in this, so. Motherly embrace can kiss my ass, says Johnny Big Time. Alright, because he argued so eloquently for it. Even though this may not be the will of all Kirko, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The swarm is more important than the single drone. Unity is our strength. Swarm Herald Secto Zacto, how can I help? Secto and I have started decoding the genome of the SKU. However, there are still many blank spots in our analysis, where Terratech classified or deleted their notes on the Queen. We believe the missing information is buried within Terratech's original Kirko study facilities here on Zakirko. Oh yeah, I totally saw your message, Johnny. Okay, Johnny, I am saying potato at... Okay, let me try that again. I am saying potato at 10:58. It's 10:58? Jesus Christ. At 10:58 in the evening. Welcome from the past. We know the locations of 2 of the facilities. A third one was detected near the landing site of an accursed syndicate slaver. If you recover the data from these laboratories, we will be able to concentrate on the reconstruction of the genome. Beware, though, there is a metal-clad human who is trying to obstruct our progress. Contact with him should be avoided at all costs. Go to the indicated location with an army to investigate the lab and retrieve the data. Go to the indicated location. Okay, same story. And find Propovis, the lab said to be nearby the syndicate capital belonging to Rebas Centauro. It's not as I will admit, I did not think that is as big of a delay as it could have been, but all right, Yu Zalu wants to join you. Looks like another energy blaster rifle, so arc weapon. They've got a bio sidearm. They get Overwatch. They get a phase field. Unit can move through obstacles in tactical combat and is 15% harder to hit. Sword. Okay, Void Tech unit. This could be fun. They cost me 100, so So in this case, I'm actually going to try and reunite the army. We've got a full stack. The Penguin's not the strongest unit I could be bringing in, but we might be able to make something happen here. Okay. So there's two priorities I want with this. Number one, obviously I want to take out the Marauders. Number two, I actually want to take them out with as little damage as possible so that we can... we could turn around and take this other Marauder stack. All right. Again, I'm always going to take the bait and shoot at something when I have the opportunity, so even if it doesn't do a lot of damage, I'm taking the shot. These guys, on the other hand, are probably not going to be able to do anything too exciting, so we'll set them up in some cover. Oh, I messed up my monitor. That's more like it. We'll set them up with the Overwatch, but they may not actually be able to make anything out of it. And the tough call here is what I want to do with these guys. So again, ideally I'll get them behind cover. It'd be also nice to have them in defensive positions. I suppose the one saving grace is that I don't actually have a lot of units that are in melee danger. So in this case, traversing sort of the maximum distance probably makes the most sense here. So yeah, if you want to have nightmares tonight, just imagine all of these bug people sneaking up behind... oh, they're gonna get nailed. Sneaking up behind all the crates and whatnot so that they can murder the crap out of you. Au gratin is French for fancy potatoes. Alright, I mean, that's fair. Those guys were were out in the open. We are, of course, going to murder the crap out of them. Oh, neat. Cerebral override. Okay, that's a little different from how I was expecting it would go, but we should still be able to beat the crap out of them.
Operations available.
Okay, so first things first, I have a wonderful opportunity to take out this target. I probably shouldn't have used my hero on that, but it was just too good of an opportunity. So one of the big things I want to focus on here is getting as many units into the middle of the fight as possible, so that if they try to do any, actions, sort of to the detriment of my units, we get to turn around and do kind of an Overwatch attack on them. Let's take out the
Enemy down.
Overseer. Alright, and I have a free flying unit to kind of do whatever the hell I want. Let's start with Ravage.
Enemy destroyed.
Poutine is magnificent. I just spent, that was what I was munching on over the course of the stream. And Miles 4K, hello! Holy potato water sounds as bland as communion wafers. Alright, so we'll take our revenge.
Enemy destroyed.
Johnny, you might want to look away. These guys might be space dwarves. Oh, you know what? I probably just cock blocked the rest of my my units. Oh no, they're fine.
Enemy down. The enemies of the hive have been defeated.
Alright, a little more damage to this unit than I was expecting, so let's take... Actually, you know what? Picking up the goodies would be really good. So these guys don't go walkabout, I don't think, so we should be fine. I would love to use the hero for something... for some kind of exploration. I also kind of want them in on the fight, though, so...
Doctrine enacted.
Sharing the past memories of our great warriors with the Kirko that fight at the forefront helps them to improve more rapidly. All Kirko units gain 25% experience from combat. You had to buy the bullet and play on easy, but now the game is way too easy. Are you talking about Tyranny, Sungif, or are you playing Age of Wonders Planetfall now? Do you think PETA cares about aliens? They should care about aliens. People for ethical treatment of aliens?
Production ready.
See, this is one of the things... I've talked with Johnny and Sin about this. I really like pigs as animals. I just think they're wonderful in every possible way, but this does not mean that I think they are immune from being a delicious animal. And I have no problem eating pork. But pigs are really, really good animals. I don't think that's true. Retrieve the data from Xena Labs and collect. I mean, maybe they do, but like in terms of like they're very nice animals on their own. They're quite clean if given the chance. I don't know what their eating habits are, but I don't think of them as particularly vicious. Mikhail Gorodin. You feel another entity reaching out to your mind. Its voice is heralded by whispers from the harmony beyond. There. Now this is much better. My name is Mikhail Gorodin, leader of the Gorodin Consortium. Sorry for the intrusion, but this hag, Zerai Loreg, left me no choice with her hackers scrambling any conventional signals I send out. It seems you are a follower of the Sinumbra teachings. I will forgive your indiscretion this time, but tell me, why is Zerai Loreg blocking your communications? To keep me from warning your people of Empress Carminia and her plans. Carminia has no interest in the well-being of the Kirko. All that she seeks is another way to subdue your race, and the Queen of Queens and her hive projection are the ideal tools. Another Zokshar. No, this cannot be true. Your words are poison. You seek to sow mistrust between the Kirko, and you fear that the hive will reunite our swarm. I fear nothing save the wrath of Kor. The machine god sent me this good piece of advice for you, little bug. Take it or be a fool. Once you've gathered the data Zerai Loreg wants, destroy it and save your people. The decision is yours. Johnny might have been right. Okay, I mean, that's fair. I think that's a little different from the original proposition of pigs would eat you given half the chance. It's kind of like saying that a person would eat you. Like, if you starve a human being, they're probably going to resort to cannibalism too. But all right, destroy the genome once you have it. When the time comes, delete the compiled data. Interesting. I mean, in the previous mission, Carminia did tell us... Oh, you know what? I actually don't want these guys stacked up. Carminia did tell us to blow up a planet, so I'm not really inclined to trust her. And I'm losing all of these technology races. Let me just take a minute to make sure. I don't think I can found bases on water, so... the sector has already been claimed. Building here causes other commanders to gain a casus belli against you, making it easier for them to declare war on you. Independent factions may demand that you ignore their claims. Let's just take a quick minute here and see, can I... No. Unfortunately, they're going to be mad about me. But we can at least buy the poison glands. And I'm actually a little tempted to pick up some other units too, so we'll take a soldier bee and a worker bee. That detail I knew. I actually think I first learned of that detail from the movie Hannibal, like the Ridley Scott movie. Direct area drone. Oh, hey, more plant people. All right. I finally have my space bees, chat. I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad the game did not force the choice about whether or not to kill the queen.
In conclusion, knowledge is power, but being well educated has an additional benefit. No one can call you stupid, especially if you've researched weaponry that could vaporize them if they did. Dr. Millicent Rickles, head researcher, Lazulite Incorporated.
Okay, energy development probably makes the most sense at this point, just to round it out. Then I need to consider about my other development options. We demand Sonoral's essence to keep the symbiosis. Paused ignore. Again, I'll accept a small tax every once in a while. Alright. And we're almost back to full health. So 915 versus 720. Alright, let's finish the rest of the action. So start with recreational dome. Another biofarm. I think we'll do a brood cluster here. Actually, I think I'm going to change the order so that I get the biofarm first. Alright. The Economist. Careful market manipulation and state-controlled economy lead to healthy, growing tax income. Basic structures built in your colonies now give 15 additional income of their resource. Tempting.
Incoming communication.
Alright, Sarai publicly complimented you. You're on the path to victory. Keep it up. So I can't offer the non-aggression pact yet.
Incoming communication.
The stature of your empire may rise in completing these tasks, but don't lose focus on what's really important. So I'm going to assume that the unknown secret technology is Synumbra, given what the story indicated.
Incoming communication.
And then Secto, I mean, they're trustworthy.
Empire task completed.
Okay, the builder is also a really good one. So by employing specialist teams of architects, we can build much faster than normally. Colony structures require 20% less production to build. So we get to...
Empire task
So like the
completed.
way I'm sort of thinking is that you do the builder first to get all of the infrastructure, and then you do the economist to get the bonus of the resource.
Operation ready.
As for the rest of this, I think I'll just leave it be. Alright, we'll wrap up the night with one more fight. So we've got a Hidden, we've got Frenzied, we've got Lancer. Alright, so we've faced all of this stuff before. Let's see if we can employ the lessons from last time. This is a cool cool looking battlefield. Okay, so the Lancer got the priority on the healing. So my inclination was to drop the Gloom Beam on this guy right away, but obviously he'll just heal that all back up. So let's try and be a little smarter about that, if I can. I don't have very high expectations for myself anymore. Okay, let's think about... So I cover for my Hidden. And then if I can, I want to drop heavy attacks on the bad guys. Alright, so I can afford one round of being behind the dangerous substance. It's kind of tempting to do this attack here just to see what what kind of damage it does when it explodes. But I can take this guy down for half his health at the start, so... Now, as for what I do with my melee units, that is a really interesting question. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them around the flank like this. Especially because that's going to mess up the Lancer in terms of what their approach is going to be. It also helps me avoid the nasty exploding spikes. So again, they're sort of in danger, but there are definitely worse places I could be putting my units right now. This guy, unfortunately, is not going to get any defensive bonuses, but at the very least I can give him a little swarm shield, so... And... I would normally be inclined to take the flying unit and send him around back to take out the healer. The catch is that I don't like the look of those Amazons. So I'm going to leave him as the option on the side. I do also need to keep in mind that there's the area of effect blind that they can do. So I'm not out of the woods, but I'm okay with where this is going for now. Okay, that's just a scratch, so I'm not too worried about it. I think they'll try a snapshot. Oh, interesting. We are going to throw up all over these guys, and it's going to be awesome.
Operations ready.
Okay. So the real dilemma I have is whether or not I want to try and take out the Transcendent. I think it's probably better for me to take out all of the sort of surrounding units first. Dude, the worst sniper in the world. Alright, well he missed, but he didn't miss. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. We're going to throw up on everyone, and hopefully this is also going to make the surrounding material blow up. No. He apparently is not in range for throwing up. That was unexpected. Alright, so now I get the opportunity to deliver some hurt on the Transcendent, which is the whole reason I had this guy back here. What is a Doom Beam going to do? Not quite enough to seal the deal, so I suspect I'm going to get blinded. Honestly, that could have been worse, though. This is definitely something I'm a little more upset about. Clever. So yeah, doing that psionic bond with the Lancer is really powerful, it turns out. Oh, that's a shame. Oh wow, there's nothing I can do. Okay, well, we'll overwatch that. Okay, so normally I would want to do something here. I think at this point I'm just going to go... I'm going to do whatever attacks I can. Well, at least... So, I keep getting all my frenzy points, which is kind of nice. That's just translating into direct damage on the bad guys. Unfortunately, I'm really stuck on actions that I can take against my other enemies. We'll go for the blind. I mean, I'm blind, but I got to do something. So let's try and get some attacks in. At the very least, this is going to tie up the Amazon. As for the rest of it, let's set ourselves up. I mean, I don't get the melee overwatch because I'm blinded, right? Oh no, this is someone who isn't blinded. Okay. So as much as I hate going beside these, you know, explodable rocks, let's get ourselves into position to put some hurt on the Amazon. And I might be able to bring the Gloom Beam down to ruin the Transcendence Day.
Enemy annihilated.
So don't worry too much about any snapshots that these guys do. I might consider dropping a heal, though, because these guys are getting a little too weak for my tastes. Oh, these guys are too far apart. Okay, well, these guys need the biggest heal, so... Okay, let's get the flank in. That was pretty.
Enemy annihilated. Enemy eliminated.
All right. I think I'm gonna get the Amazons in melee first. I'm reasonably confident in my ability to do something to this hidden. That confidence was poorly placed, it looks like. Oh, nope, this can do something. Never mind. Good old gunk shot. So this is exactly why I put that unit beside the Amazon. If they are going to make an attack on one of the units I don't want them to attack, I want there to at least be a penalty for
Enemy
it.
killed.
And I know I said it before, but this is a really cool looking battlefield. I
Enemy
don't think that's
destroyed.
an organ, but nicely
Our
done.
forces are victorious.
Okay, that seemed really messy, but that actually wound up working pretty well. I didn't lose any of my units. Everything's elite. So XP earned 7. I don't actually know if you go any higher than expert. I suppose I can find that in the databanks. But more importantly, we got 20 Cosmite for my trouble, and now we get 10 per turn. And looks like there's some goodies that I can pick up. So, I'm going to hit end turn, but I think we are going to call it there tonight. I'm actually much happier with where we finished tonight than I've been in some of the other Age of Wonders Planetfall streams. I've never finished an Age of Wonders Planetfall stream unhappy, but I've definitely felt like I have had some better opportunities. Like, I kind of feel like in some situations I could have done better than I actually did. And so in these ones I sort of feel like, okay, I generally had a plan. Yes, there's a couple of times where I got beaten by the AI on some stuff. What? All right, this is going to be a dilemma. Apparently, Rogue Marauders just appeared out of nowhere in the middle of my territory. I'm not crazy about that. It's maybe something that my home defense forces could handle, but it's going to be a dicey fight, that's for sure. But yeah, anyways, I generally think that there was a plan. I kind of stuck with it. And I don't know, it turned out. What do you guys think of Age of Wonders Planetfall? I really like this game. I actually didn't do a good job like doing the whole salesmanship thing. One thing I will just mention to you guys, I don't know if this is a good Christmas gift or if this is something that you'd want to see on your own, but this is one I wanted to mention. There is a bundle on Humble right now, and again, it is worth remembering that I am a Humble partner, so there is a financial interest here. But if you guys like Paradox games, there's currently the Paradox Management Bundle going on. So if you pay $1, you get Prison Architect. Let me at least bring the music up. I can save stream. It's December 16th, right? For like half an hour more. I'll talk about Age of Wonders a little bit more as well. But I do want to bring you guys' attention to this bundle. So if you use that link below, you can direct however much money you want to put it towards me. Again, these are the Paradox Management games. So some of these are going to be a bit different from the ones that you normally associate with Paradox. For instance, it's not Age of Wonders Planetfall. But at the $1 tier, you get Prison Architect, which is wonderful. If you don't have it, I definitely recommend do the $1 tier. Prison Architect is a really cute game, and Paradox now owns it, so they are going to be putting additional. They're going to be putting some additional DLC towards it. On top of that, there's Prison Architect Aficionado, which I'm actually not familiar with. There's also Cities in Motion and Cities in Motion 2. Now, these are two fine games. But if you are interested in Cities in Motion and Cities in Motion 2, I will recommend the pay more than the average tier. It is currently $7.88. If you pay more than the average, you get Cities Skylines, which is also by Colossal Order. This is kind of their big city builder. I would say it's a superior game to the base Cities in Motions games. I don't dislike Cities in Motion, I just think Cities Skylines is a lot more comprehensible. And of course, you guys saw me play it on Xbox a while ago. It's a wonderful game, so it can be yours for $7.88, and it comes with the European Suburbia, Green Cities, Synthetic Dawn Radio DLCs. Also, there are some Cities in Motion 2 DLC, but I'll be honest with you, if you have City Skylines, you probably want to play Cities Skylines. On top of that, I think the best value, and this is a personal assessment of mine because I really enjoy this game, although of course I was given a key from Paradox, so I'm kind of inclined to say that. For the $18 tier, you get Surviving Mars Deluxe Edition with the Space Race DLC, with the Green Planet DLC, and the Project Laika DLC, which gives you Space Dogs. This is a great bundle. So basically you get all of the Surviving Mars stuff. You get to play the game the way that you've seen me play it. You get to turn Mars into a green planet, and it's all hopeful and wonderful. And it costs $18. And again, you can direct that. The big thing on this one is that you can direct the money towards a charity. You can direct the money towards me. You can direct the money towards Humble if you want. Or, of course, you can do things like support the developer and support it there. So you also get to pick where the money goes. On top of that, you also get City Skylines Industries. But I'll be honest with you. I think Surviving Mars is the best thing in this batch. City Skylines is very good. Just between the two of them, Surviving Mars really sings to me. But on top of that, Prison Architect on its own, if you just want a quick little game that you can enjoy, I definitely recommend that one. Do you have to play the way I play it? I mean, I think I play it reasonably well, but you don't have to play it the way I play it if you don't want. Anyways, that is one of the Humble Bundle things. There's actually a few different bundles going on, and I don't want to turn it into sort of the Humble sales pitch here. But if you do wind up using those links, if you wind up sort of picking up stuff as a result of my link or all of that, it puts a little bit of money towards me, which I always appreciate. That also includes buying games off of the service or subscribing to what is now Humble Choice. I'll admit, I actually don't think Humble Choice is all that impressive, but that's not up to me. The other one that did kind of catch my attention was they every once in a while do these O'Reilly bundles. So they've got another O'Reilly bundle out, but I will admit I liked Paul Graham's book Hackers and Painters, but I don't know. I'll admit I've never read The Cathedral and the Bazaar. Eric Raymond probably does not deserve the level of attention that he gets. That's probably the nicest way that I can put it. But yeah, so like normally I like the O'Reilly bundles. This one actually didn't really say that much to me. I mean, maybe the Get Pocket reference is kind of nice, but for what they charge you for that stuff, I think I'd wait for the other ones. And while I should normally encourage you guys on like data science stuff, there is a data science bundle going on. I will confess I am not that impressed with the No Starch Press offerings on here. I think it would be nice if they had something like, oh God, what was it? There's a good book, Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. That's a good No Starch book. But like the top tier for that one is $15 for like the Python crash course and Bayesian statistics, the fun way and whatnot. I mean, if those books look interesting to you, definitely give them a look. But honestly, if you want to get into data science, like the major textbook for statistical learning is a book called The Elements of Statistical Learning. Trevor Hastie and Rob Tibshirani are two of the authors. I know there were a couple of others. I just can never remember the other guy's name. And he's the guy who had actually hosts the site. Anyways, that is available for free, even though it's a Springer textbook. And if you want an introductory book towards it, Introduction to Statistical Learning with Applications in R, I actually think you are better to learn Python than you are to learn R if you really want to get into like hardcore data science stuff. Although honestly, your choice of programming language doesn't matter that much. I just think that R was very fashionable for a while, and it's probably on the downside. I don't think it's like going anywhere. It's like not going to vanish. I just think that Python is more useful. If you're going to learn one thing, I think Python is just a lot more useful to learn in general purpose. But with that in mind, doing the exercises in R is probably going to keep you focusing on the statistics and not so much on the programming. So it's not bad that they chose to do it in R. It's just don't Just because you learn it in that book doesn't mean you don't want to do it. Anyways, both of those books are available for free. Those are proper textbooks, and they are written by people who have developed some of the methods that are talked about in those books. And so as much as I want you guys to potentially spend money on stuff on the Humble site that I can benefit from, and definitely those book bundles are nice because I don't think there's any limit into how much the broadcaster gets. If you are interested in data science books, go check out those ones that I just talked about. Save your money. Like, No Starch Press is fine. I think Automate the Boring Stuff with Python is a very good book, and I'm glad that they publish it. I just don't think that those data science books are going to teach you the stuff that you probably want to learn. And given the fact that there's a full color, very good textbook for introductory work in the Hasty and Tebshirani one. Again, the introductory book, Elements of Statistical Learning, is a very difficult text if you don't know your math. There's better options out there. So make the wrong choice. Make the humble choice. Anyways, I think that's all I had to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to make it a big sales pitch. I think I spent like 15 minutes talking about Humble Bundle stuff. But anyways, as always, I'm very grateful to Paradox and Triumph and everybody else who's responsible for these things to get me not just Age of Wonders Planetfall, but the Revelations DLC. I really enjoy this game. I don't think it's on sale anymore. Oh, sorry, Sungif, who you're asking who? The authors? I'll find out the exact ones that I was talking about. And again, believe me, guys, there's better things you can spend your life learning than statistical learning. I like this sort of stuff, but I am, like, my job is to work with data. So, introduction to statistical learning. By the way, if you want a reference point in Canadian dollars, if you were to buy Introduction to Statistical Learning with applications in R from Amazon, you'd be spending about $75 Canadian. You can get that book for free legally from the author's website. So the authors of ISLR, which is its abbreviation, are... Why are you doing this to me, Amazon? Gareth James, Daniela Witten, Trevor Hasty, and Robert Tibshirani. And then the Elements of Statistical Learning, which is admittedly an older textbook. It's just, like, it still holds up. That's about $85 Canadian. Again, available for free on the author's website. So unless you absolutely have to have a hardcover copy of it, do not waste your money. The whole reason why I'm mentioning these are to save you the money of picking up these up. But if you want to tackle like the advanced textbook, it is Trevor Hasty, Robert Tibshirani, and Jerome Friedman. If you want more introductory material, I think, God, why can I never remember this guy's name? His last name's Wasserman. I don't think it's Stanley though. Anyways, there's a textbook called All of Statistics. If you are comfortable with math, that's actually not a bad one because it's relatively short for the amount of territory that it cobers. But sometimes short math books are not the best ones because they're really, really dense. My background is economics, so I think there's a book by Takashi Amamiya called Introduction to Econometrics and Statistics, I think is the name. That's actually a decent, reasonably short one that actually focuses a lot on empirical methods. If you want a proper textbook like the thing you'd get in a class, I think Baby Wooldridge, Introduction to Econometrics, a Modern Approach, that has a appendix on statistics, and that's an economics focused textbook, but I think that one's still probably the best introductory one. The Papa Wooldridge is a really good textbook and a really hard one. Like you need to know econometrics already to get the most out of that. And then if you're looking for shorter stuff, there's an interesting one that I've been reading called Agnostic Statistics. I think it's Introduction to Agnostic Statistics. I haven't actually finished it yet, so I can't give it a recommendation. But if you are looking for something that's maybe a little bit more of a light touch, and you like maybe you're more interested in the ideas rather than like wanting to go out and do some kind of inference or something like that, I'd actually really recommend a book called Mastering Metrics by Josh Angrist and Jorn Stefan Pischke. Again, these are a couple of guys very good at a certain style of economics. In fact, the style that was kind of introduced by Esther Duflo, who is one of the Nobel Prize winners this year, Mastering Metrics is intended for like an undergraduate level audience, and it's got a very relaxed tone. It's sort of a follow-up to a book that they made called Mostly Harmless Econometrics. And Mostly Harmless Econometrics is written for an educated audience. So educated as in like the stuff that I know. Like you would not casually sit down with that book and work through everything. There's going to be more equations and whatnot. But I think Mastering Metrics is actually a very approachable guide to how economists and other social sciences approach certain empirical questions with data. And if you are interested in those kinds of questions, even if you don't necessarily want to be a practitioner yourself, that is not a bad introductory book. And I don't think it's very expensive, but it's not free compared to the other data science ones. And really, the whole purpose of me going on this tangent was to discourage you from buying the humble data science bundle. So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys in peace. Let's find somebody to host tonight. Thank you for the nice words about Planetfall and me streaming and whatnot. There is going to be another episode of the Elder Scrolls Morrowind tomorrow. I need to upload that though. And as for who I'm hosting, who do we have up? Oh, you know what? I don't get a chance to host this lovely person every once in a while, or sorry, that much. But it looks like Octavian Zero is still streaming Path of Exile. So, sorry, I closed the game way too early. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for everyone for watching Planetfall. I'm clearly losing a ton of people, so let's just take a quick minute here and host Octavian Zero. He is a very friendly guy. I'm going to try and come up with something smart to say when I'm in his channel. But as for the rest, tomorrow there's going to be some more. There's going to be some more Elder Scrolls. Wednesday, I'm feeling inclined towards BattleTech, but I'm going to do my best to do 6 Ages. So if I can't do 6 Ages tomorrow, I'll probably wind up doing that Friday. But yeah, it'll be probably 6 Ages or BattleTech on Wednesday, and then Friday is currently up in the air. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you tomorrow or Wednesday. Have a good one.